After going through and breaking down the most meaningful, and even some less meaningful, villains in Dragon Ball, I think it's safe to say the research is finally complete. So for your convenience, this is the full list of every Dragon Ball villain, for the most part, explained. Emperor Pilaf, often referring to himself with grandeur, is a small, blue creature with an insatiable hunger for power and an ambition to rule the world. Accompanied by his loyal minions, Mai and Shu, Pilaf served as Goku's first major antagonist. Learning of the Dragon Balls and their ability to grant any wish, Pilaf set out to collect all 7 in hopes of achieving world domination. During his quest, he crossed paths with Goku and his companions, becoming a recurring obstacle in their journey. Though lacking sufficient strength, Pilaf's cunning enabled him to capture the group, imprisoning them in his castle. With the Dragon Balls gathered, he was on the brink of realizing his evil dream, only for Oolong to thwart him by making an absurd wish for a pair of panties instead.
I live for moments like this!
The Red Ribbon Army, infamous for its ruthless and widespread influence in the criminal underworld, was led by the ambitious Commander Red. The army's primary mission was to gather the Dragon Balls by any means necessary to achieve world domination. However, Commander Red secretly planned to use the wish for his own superficial desire, to increase his height. Commander Red took pride in assembling what he believed to be the finest team of minds and warriors, including notable figures like Officer Black, Colonel Silver, General White, Major Metallatron, the Ninja Murasaki, General Blue, Captain Yellow, Colonel Violet, and the lethal assassin, Mercenary Tao. Goku encountered and defeated each of these individuals, showcasing his superior strength and resolve. In a climactic showdown, Goku launched a solo assault on the Red Ribbon Army's headquarters to retrieve the Dragon Balls, massacring many of its soldiers in the process. This event is often regarded as one of the most brutal displays of Goku's power, despite his typically gentle demeanor. During the chaos, Officer Black discovered Commander Red's true intention of prioritizing his height over the army's goals. Enraged by the betrayal, Black killed Red and briefly assumed leadership, only to meet his own demise at Goku's hands. Following Black's defeat, the remnants of the Red Ribbon Army scattered, leading to the organization's presumed disbandment.
The only thing more gratifying than watching you suffer is knowing that somewhere, Tao is smiling right now.
Tien Shinhan was initially a devoted student of the Crane School, a martial arts academy established by Master Shen, who was Master Roshi's rival. Tien harbored a deep desire for vengeance against Goku, blaming him for defeating and seemingly killing Mercenary Tao during the Red Ribbon Army saga. Mercenary Tao was not only one of Tien's mentors, but also Master Shen's brother. Considering the ruthless and merciless combat style Tao displayed against Goku, it was no surprise that Tien adopted a similar approach. Tien's cruelty became evident during the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, where he mercilessly defeated Yamcha and shattered his leg even after Yamcha had lost consciousness. This brutal streak continued in Tien's fights against Jackie Chun, Master Roshi in disguise, and Goku, though these opponents managed to hold their own far better than Yamcha. Throughout this time, Tien's loyalty was split between his admiration for Master Shen and his unbreakable bond with his lifelong friend, Chaozu. However, after encountering Master Roshi, Tien began to see the error of his ways. Roshi's guidance helped both Tien and Chaozu recognize they were fighting for the wrong side, and as a result, Tien abandoned his thirst for revenge against Goku and took his first steps toward redemption.
We both love inflicting pain. It's an intoxicating feeling, isn't it?
King Piccolo was a demonic Namekian who briefly reigned over the Earth on multiple occasions. Over a century before the events of Dragon Ball, a nameless Namekian living on Earth sought to assume the mantle of its guardian. However, he was denied the role because of the latent evil within his heart. Determined to purify himself, the Namekian concentrated his energy and split into 2 separate beings, the embodiment of pure evil, King Piccolo, and his virtuous counterpart, Kami. While Kami remained in the sanctuary, King Piccolo descended to Earth and unleashed devastation, creating an army of demonic offspring that turned the once peaceful planet into a nightmarish wasteland. Unable to confront Piccolo directly due to their shared life force, meaning the death of one would kill the other, Kami watched helplessly as King Piccolo waged war against humanity. Earth's only resistance came from the Mutaito Training Academy, a martial arts school whose warriors fought valiantly against Piccolo's minions. Among the Academy's students were Master Roshi and Master Shen, the only survivors of the Academy's brutal clashes with Piccolo's forces. Despite their efforts, even the Academy's strongest fighters were powerless against King Piccolo himself. It wasn't until Master Mutaito, their teacher, devised the evil containment wave that humanity had a chance at salvation. In a climactic confrontation, Mutaito successfully sealed King Piccolo inside an electric rice cooker, but at the cost of his own life. Fulfilling their master's final wish, Roshi cast the rice cooker into the sea, ensuring Piccolo would remain imprisoned for centuries. Piccolo's reemergence came after the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, when Pilaf and his minions, seeking power and status, released him from his centuries-long captivity. However, Piccolo was now an elderly, weakened version of himself due to his prolonged imprisonment. Determined to restore his youth and power, Piccolo sought the Dragon Balls, killing Krillin and several others in the process. Enraged by the loss of his friend, Goku confronted King Piccolo, but even in his weakened state, Piccolo proved too formidable. Goku was soundly defeated and presumed dead. Later, Master Roshi attempted to finish what his mentor, Mutaito, had started. Armed with the evil containment wave, Roshi faced King Piccolo but failed to execute the technique and died as a result. Seemingly unstoppable, Piccolo established himself as Earth's tyrannical ruler, even declaring a holiday to celebrate his dominion. Meanwhile, Goku recovered and began training under Korin, an 800-year-old wise cat who helped him unlock untapped reserves of power. When his training concluded, Goku confronted King Piccolo in a final showdown. The battle was fierce, with Piccolo demonstrating his full might after using the Dragon Balls to restore his youth. Despite nearly succumbing to Piccolo's overwhelming strength, Goku ultimately delivered a decisive blow, driving a hole through Piccolo's chest and ending his reign of terror. However, in his dying moments, Piccolo created a reincarnation of himself, Piccolo Jr., ensuring his legacy would endure. This act unintentionally spared Kami's life due to their shared existence. Piccolo, succumbing to his wounds, left his final message to his son to avenge his death and destroy Goku. Following the battle, Goku met Kami in person and learned of Piccolo's reincarnation. Resolute in his mission to protect the Earth, Goku vowed to spend the next 3 years training under Kami to face Piccolo Jr. at the upcoming World Martial Arts Tournament.
You idiots! It took you this long to realize my supremacy?
Piccolo Jr., the final offspring and reincarnation of King Piccolo, is a cunning and strategic warrior who initially served as the primary antagonist in the concluding saga of Dragon Ball. Driven by a deep desire to avenge his father, Piccolo Jr. was resolute in his mission to kill Goku. During their intense battle, Goku managed to wear Piccolo down, though he came dangerously close to defeat after momentarily letting his guard down. Demonstrating newfound abilities, including the power of flight, Goku ultimately triumphed over Piccolo, but chose to spare his life. This act of mercy became pivotal in later events, as Piccolo gradually shed his villainous nature in Dragon Ball Z. His transformation began during the Saiyan saga, where he formed an unlikely bond with Goku's son, Gohan, while training him for the impending battle against the Saiyans. Over time, Piccolo became a steadfast member of the Dragon Team, a trusted ally, and a heroic protector of Earth. Now affectionately regarded as the Grill Master in moments of levity, Piccolo evolved into one of the planet's greatest champions, cementing his place as a beloved figure in the Dragon Ball series.
You're a disgrace to all Saiyans! Now prepare to die!
Raditz, a mid-class Saiyan warrior, was the older brother of Goku and the firstborn son of their parents, Bardock and Gine. As one of the few remaining full-blooded Saiyans after the destruction of their home planet, Raditz served as the first antagonist in Dragon Ball Z. He sought out Goku with the intent of recruiting him to assist in the Saiyan mission of conquering planets. However, upon finding Goku on Earth, Raditz was met with disappointment and anger. Due to a traumatic head injury as a child, Goku had no memory of his Saiyan origins or Raditz himself, and had grown into a kind-hearted and gentle soul rather than the ruthless warrior he was meant to be. Frustrated, Raditz devised a plan to force Goku into cooperation. He kidnapped Goku's son, Gohan, and demanded Goku to kill 100 humans to secure his son's survival. Instead of complying, Goku allied with Piccolo Jr., his former enemy, to confront Raditz. Despite their combined efforts, the battle was nearly lost until Piccolo unleashed his devastating special beam cannon, fatally wounding Raditz. Before succumbing to his injuries, Raditz revealed his scouter had transmitted Piccolo's explanation of the Dragon Balls to his remaining Saiyan comrades. This revelation set the stage for their arrival on Earth, drawn by the allure of the Dragon Balls and the promise of having their own wishes granted. Raditz assumed that he would one day be resurrected, but unfortunately for him, it never came to pass.
Give them a moment to clear this trash off the battlefield.
Vegeta is a proud and egotistical Saiyan warrior, born on planet Vegeta, the Saiyan homeworld that was destroyed prior to the events of Dragon Ball. As the Prince of Saiyans, Vegeta was the heir to his now deceased father, King Vegeta, and belonged to the elite class of warriors. This distinction set him apart from Saiyans like Goku, who were born as low-class warriors. Accompanied by his partner, Nappa, Vegeta journeyed to Earth in search of the Dragon Balls, intending to use them for immortality. However, they were met with fierce opposition from Earth's defenders. Displaying his cold superiority, Vegeta stood by as Nappa slaughtered the Earth's warriors, leaving only Gohan and Krillin alive by the time Goku returned from his training in the afterlife. Goku swiftly defeated Nappa, leading Vegeta to kill his partner for his failure. With the stage set, Vegeta engaged Goku in an intense battle, quickly proving himself to be far more powerful. Outraged that a low-class Saiyan like Goku could inflict even minor damage on him though, Vegeta resorted to transforming into a great ape, intending to annihilate Goku completely. Though Goku was pushed to the brink of death, the intervention of Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe turned the tide of the battle. Together, they managed to neutralize Vegeta's great ape form and severely weaken him, forcing him to retreat to his spaceship. As Vegeta crawled towards his escape, Krillin prepared to deliver the finishing blow, but Goku insisted on sparing Vegeta's life. This act of mercy became a turning point in Vegeta's character development. Over time, Vegeta transitioned from a ruthless villain into an anti-hero, gradually aligning himself with Earth's defenders. By the Majin Buu saga, he had established a family with Bulma and fully re-embraced his role as a secondary protagonist alongside Goku, continuing his journey toward redemption and growth throughout the series.
Ginyu Force!
The Ginyu Force is an extraordinary and elite group of mercenaries hired by Frieza to conquer planets on behalf of his galactic army. This team consists of Jace, Raccoon, Birder, Guldo, and their captain and leader, Ginyu. Interestingly, a former member named Banyu was the first recruit of the Ginyu Force, but didn't remain with them for long. Banyu was ultimately dismissed from the group due to an inability to participate in their iconic special poses and a lack of charisma expected from team members. Despite her departure, Banyu's combat data remained on record. Historically, the Ginyu Force was regarded as some of the strongest warriors in the universe, holding ranks superior to even Zarbon and Dodoria, who served as Frieza's close aides. Each member of the Ginyu Force possesses a unique special ability. Guldo wields psychic powers that allow him to freeze time. Raccoon boasts remarkable endurance, durability, and strength. Birder is famed for his unmatched speed, Jace specializes in advanced ki blast techniques, and Captain Ginyu has the rare ability to switch bodies with almost anyone. These distinctive skills were showcased during their battle against Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta, where the three struggled to put up any significant resistance. While they were physically amongst the universe's strongest fighters, the Ginyu Force is also known for their eccentric behavior, such as crafting bizarre poses, gambling on outcomes of battles, and playing rock paper scissors to decide their combat order. Notably, all members of the Ginyu Force are mutants of their respective races, a trait that explains their exceptionally high battle powers and unique abilities. Despite their incredible strength and reputation, the Ginyu Force met their downfall on planet Namek when Goku arrived and nearly defeated the entire team single-handedly. Ultimately, it was Vegeta who delivered the final blows, eliminating the squad entirely. Captain Ginyu, however, survived in the body of a frog, but he too met his end years later at Vegeta's hands.
Don't worry, it won't hurt too bad. Really, death is my specialty.
Frieza is one of the most notorious villains in the Dragon Ball franchise. The younger son of King Cold and the brother of Cooler, Frieza is a genocidal tyrant who disguises his savagery with a refined and composed demeanor, which shatters when provoked. Ascending to power as the Emperor of Universe 7 after inheriting his father's army, Frieza quickly became infamous for his unrivaled cruelty and immense strength, instilling fear across the cosmos. Frieza is directly responsible for the near extinction of the Saiyan race, a group he despises, though he spares survivors like Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz to serve under his command. Among them, Vegeta was the only one to openly defy him. Frieza is first introduced during the Namek Saga, where he arrives on planet Namek, the homeworld of the Namekian race, seeking the Dragon Balls to achieve immortality. His plans are derailed by the unexpected arrival of Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, who also seek the Dragon Balls for their own purposes. Despite Vegeta's history as a former member of Frieza's army, the trio was forced to cooperate to survive against the tyrant's powerful subordinates, including the Ginyu Force. Their efforts buy them enough time until Piccolo and Goku arrive on Namek, setting the stage for the showdown against Frieza himself. Frieza demonstrates his terrifying power through a series of transformations, each more formidable than the last. Though the Z-Fighters come perilously close to death, Vegeta ultimately succumbs to Frieza, who coldly declares his demise long overdue. Enraged by Vegeta's death and determined to avenge countless lives Frieza destroyed, Goku confronts the tyrant. Despite initially gaining the upper hand, Goku struggled as Frieza unleashed 50% of his full power. Goku countered with the Spirit Bomb, but the attack failed, prompting Frieza to kill Krillin, triggering Goku's transformation into the legendary Super Saiyan. Frieza's fear of the Saiyan race had been rooted in the myth of the Super Saiyan, a warrior capable of surpassing even his own power. His genocidal actions against the Saiyans were fueled by paranoia that such a figure would one day rise to challenge him. Goku's ascension to Super Saiyan validated Frieza's fears, and he was overwhelmed by Goku's newfound strength. Despite his defeat, Goku chose to spare Frieza, unwilling to prolong the violence. However, in a desperate and reckless move, Frieza used an energy disc to attack Goku, but ended up slicing himself in half. Goku spared him once more, but Frieza squandered his final chance at redemption. Nearly 2 years later, a cybernetically rebuilt Frieza returned to Earth to exact revenge, only to face future Trunks. The young Saiyan effortlessly eliminated Frieza, cutting him down and ensuring his end. Many years later, Frieza was resurrected and reappeared in his newly acquired Golden Frieza form, challenging Goku and Vegeta, but ultimately met his defeat again at Goku's hands. Despite his repeated losses, Frieza remained a persistent presence in the series. During the Tournament of Power, Goku enlisted a deceased Frieza to represent Universe 7, securing their victory and ensuring their survival of their universe. As a reward, Whis revived Frieza, though the tyrant wasted no time resuming his ambition. Rebuilding his army, Frieza manipulated the powerful Saiyan Broly into joining his forces. Though his plan backfired, Frieza avoided direct conflict with stronger foes like Moro later on, focusing instead on training. Spending 10 years in a dimension akin to the hyperbolic time chamber, Frieza unlocked his most powerful transformation yet, Black Frieza. Demonstrating his dominance, Frieza effortlessly outclassed both Goku and Vegeta, solidifying his position as one of the most formidable beings in the cosmos.
I cleared the area of innocence in accordance with your wishes. Do you disagree with my methods?
Android 20, also known as Dr. Gero, is a brilliant yet sinister scientist and one of the founding members of the Red Ribbon Army. He's the mastermind behind the Red Ribbon androids and serves as the main antagonist in the Android saga of Dragon Ball Z. Dr. Gero harbors an intense hatred for Goku due to the latter's defeat of the Red Ribbon Army during his childhood. Gero had a family before his descent into villainy, including a wife, Vomi, also known as Android 21, and 2 children. One of his sons, Jevo, is believed to be the inspiration for the creation of Android 16, bearing an uncanny resemblance to the gentle android. It's theorized that Jevo lost his life during Goku's onslaught against the Red Ribbon Army, fueling Gero's obsession and grief. As a tribute to his son, Gero deliberately designed Android 16 to be gentle, reflecting the character of the boy he lost. Driven by his grief and thirst for revenge, Gero became a cold, calculating individual, willing to go to any lengths to achieve his ultimate goal, Goku's death and global domination through his android creations. After the Red Ribbon Army was decimated, Gero went into hiding in a secret laboratory nestled in the mountains north of North City. Here, he dedicated his life to creating the ultimate fighting machine, tirelessly working to perfect his craft. Employing an advanced tracking device disguised disguised as a ladybug, Gero studied Goku and the Z-Fighters for years, gathering intelligence from Goku's battles against Tien, King Piccolo, Piccolo Jr., the Saiyans Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta, and even Frieza and King Cold. His meticulous observations informed the creation of increasingly powerful androids, threats that would give Goku and his friends a considerable amount of trouble. Gero's influence extended beyond his timeline, with devastating effects on alternate futures. In one such timeline, his creations, androids 17 and 18, annihilated all of Earth's defenders except for Gohan in future Trunks. Gohan later fell victim, and the resulting apocalyptic wasteland highlighted the full potential of Gero's genius and malice. It was only through future Trunks' interventions in the present timeline that this grim future was averted, though the shadow of what could have been loomed heavily over Gero's actions. Obsessed with his creations and driven by his ambitions, Gero took the drastic step of turning himself into Android 20, integrating his human brain into a mechanical body to achieve immortality and continue his work. His ruthless experiments often involved kidnapping individuals to convert them into androids, as seen with androids 17 and 18. These siblings were key to Gero's vendetta against Goku, though they ultimately turned against their creator. This act deprived Dr. Gero of the chance to see his chaotic dreams fully realized. Even after his death, Gero's influence endured through his lineage. His grandson, Dr. Hedo, later emerged as a genius in his own right. Dr. Hedo, bearing no emotional connection to his infamous grandfather, revealed that his parents believed the Red Ribbon Army corrupted Gero's mind, implying he might have been a decent man once. Despite his lack of attachment, Hedo was somewhat manipulated by Red Pharmaceuticals, a facade for the resurrected Red Ribbon Army, into continuing Gero's work under the false pretense that Capsule Corp housed dangerous supervillains. Under this influence, Dr. Hedo created Cell Max, one of the universe's most powerful beings, perpetuating his grandfather's legacy in a new and destructive form.
You're not going to put us to sleep again, old man.
Android 17, originally named Lapis before his transformation, is the younger twin brother of Android 18 and Dr. Gero's 17th android creation. Once an ordinary human, Lapis was kidnapped and remodeled into an android as part of Gero's scheme to exact revenge on Goku. Though initially programmed to serve Gero's vendetta, Android 17 quickly rebelled against his creator, ultimately killing him. This act was fueled by resentment over having his humanity stolen, and the realization that Gero could control him if left alive. As a fighter, Android 17 is remarkably powerful, able to hold his own against Piccolo after the latter's fusion with Kami, a transformation that elevated Piccolo's strength beyond that of Goku and Vegeta at the time. Android 17's key advantage lies in his unlimited stamina, as he's incapable of tiring, making him a formidable opponent in prolonged battles. However, his endurance and power didn't render him invincible. During the Cell Saga, Android 17 was defeated and absorbed by Imperfect Cell, significantly advancing the villain's evolution toward his perfect form. After a decade of absence following the Cell Saga, Android 17 resurfaced in Dragon Ball Super, where he had taken on the role of a national park ranger on a remote island. This occupation suited his outdoorsy and independent nature, reflecting his love for solitude in the natural world. During the Tournament of Power, 17 demonstrated his ability to grow his strength to a divine level, proving himself to be a crucial asset in Universe 7's victory. Though introduced as a seemingly reckless anarchist, Android 17 evolved into a figure of balance and understanding, showcasing a keen ability to discern right from wrong. One of his most surprising feats was taming the Pseudo-Cell Juniors, transforming them from homicidal beings into creatures he could coexist with peacefully.
Good luck. Bye.
Android 18, originally named Lazuli prior to her transformation, is the older twin sister of Android 17 and the 18th creation of Dr. Gero. Like her brother, Lazuli was kidnapped and re-engineered into an android as part of Gero's plot to exact revenge on Goku. Although initially tied to Gero's schemes, Android 18 showed little loyalty to her creator, supporting his elimination when her curiosity about activating Android 16 prompted Android 17 to kill Gero. Android 18 18 possesses immense strength and combat skill, which was evident in an alternate timeline where she eradicated the Z-Fighters alongside her brother. Her power was also demonstrated in the present timeline during her battle with Vegeta, where she decisively humiliated the newly transformed Super Saiyan. However, her strength became her downfall when Cell absorbed her, achieving his perfect form not long after absorbing her brother. Despite her ruthless nature early on, Android 18's character softened in the present timeline. She developed an unexpected bond with Krillin, Goku's childhood friend, following her initial introduction as an enemy. Their first interaction after Vegeta's defeat carried a flirtatious undertone, planting the seeds for a deeper connection. This bond saved Android 18 when Krillin, after Cell was forced to regurgitate her during his battle with Gohan, stood by her side. He later used the Dragon Balls to remove the bomb implanted in her body by Dr. Gero, and even contemplated restoring her humanity, though Shenron's limitations prevented this. Android 18 went on to fall in love with Krillin, and the two built a life together as a family, raising their daughter, Marin. Despite her evolution into a more compassionate individual, Android 18 remains a powerful protector of Earth, standing alongside Krillin and the Z-Fighters to defend their world from any threat.
He should feel lucky. He's the first one to be touched by my perfect body.
Cell is the ultimate creation of Dr. Gero, engineered from the DNA of Earth's most formidable warriors as identified by Gero's remote tracking device. His design aimed to produce the perfect android, granting Cell the combined genetic traits and unique abilities of elite fighters such as Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, and even Frieza's father, King Cold. Unlike other Red Ribbon androids, Cell was not completed directly by Dr. Gero, but instead by the Doctor's supercomputer in an alternate timeline, meticulously programmed to fulfill his creator's ambitions. In his pursuit of perfection, Cell traveled to Goku's present timeline, intent on absorbing androids 17 and 18 to achieve his ultimate form and dominate the world. Cell's journeys showcase three distinctive forms: his imperfect form, a grotesque insect-like appearance; his semi-perfect form, attained by absorbing android 17, which gave him a more humanoid appearance; and finally, his perfect form, reached after absorbing android 18, where he transformed into a fully humanoid being with unparalleled power and elegance. Cell's abilities extended beyond android absorption though. He could absorb humans, as demonstrated during his rampage across towns, where he drained countless lives to grow stronger. His genetic makeup endowed him with immense power and an arsenal of techniques borrowed from the warriors he was derived from, including the Kamehameha, Special Beam Cannon, and Solar Flare. This combination of power and versatility fostered Cell's arrogance and narcissism, traits fueled by his belief in his superiority over all others. Despite his overwhelming strength, Cell ultimately met his match when Gohan achieved Super Saiyan 2 during their climactic battle at the Cell Games. Gohan's newfound power outmatched Cell, leading to his destruction. However, Cell's design and legacy persisted more than a decade later with the emergence of Cell Max, a creation of Dr. Gero's grandson, Dr. Hedo.
There is no one in the universe who can exceed my power!
Dabura, the king of the demon realm, was a fearsome demon placed under the control of the dark wizard Babidi through a powerful spell, serving as Babidi's right-hand man before the emergence of Majin Buu. His outward appearance mirrors that of a classic demon, complete with a sadistic and cruel personality, further intensified by Babidi's magic. Dabura was instrumental in Babidi's plans, tasked with locating powerful warriors on Earth whose energy could fuel the resurrection of Majin Buu. When confronted by Goku and his allies, Dabura faced Gohan, showcasing power said to rival that of Perfect Cell. Despite his strength, Dabura posed little concern for Goku and Vegeta, who viewed him as a manageable threat. However, Dabura's loyalty to Babidi proved futile, as the wizard discarded him the moment Majin Buu was resurrected. In a tragic twist of fate, Dabura was devoured by Buu, ending his reign as the Demon King. Following Dabura's demise, his former realm fell under the rule of Goma, marking a new chapter in the Demon Realm's history.
Dum-dums.
Majin Buu is a multi-faced being and one of the most formidable adversaries the Z-Fighters have ever encountered. He remains one of the few villains in the Dragon Ball series to have successfully destroyed the Earth entirely, killed nearly all of the Z-Fighters, and even caused havoc in the afterlife. Throughout Dragon Ball Z, each form of Majin Buu exhibited distinct personalities and goals, effectively making them separate individuals. While all of these forms are referred to as Majin Buu, they're commonly identified by nicknames. Kid Buu represents the original, pure form of Majin Buu. Unlike his other iterations, Kid Buu's behavior is irrational, chaotic, and spontaneous. Though he appears the smallest in size, he's the most dangerous due to his unrelenting evil and unpredictability. According to lore, Majin Buu was initially believed to have been created by the wizard Bibidi. However, Akira Toriyama later clarified that Buu had existed since ancient times, predating any known memory of his origins, and Bibidi merely possessed the knowledge to awaken the dormant monster. Upon being summoned, Majin Buu proved to be a nearly unstoppable force of destruction, uncontrollable by even Bibidi. Together, they wreaked havoc across the entire universe, eventually arriving at the sacred world of the Kai, home to the Supreme Kai, the rulers of the universe, and Bibidi's sworn enemies. Here, Majin Buu slaughtered the West Supreme Kai and North Supreme Kai before facing the South Supreme Kai, the strongest among them. Although the South Supreme Kai fought valiantly, Buu ultimately absorbed him, transforming into a larger, more muscular version of himself. Buu then turned his sights on Shin, the Supreme Kai familiar to fans, only to be intercepted by the Grand Supreme Kai. Unable to kill Buu due to his regenerative abilities, the Grand Supreme Kai was absorbed during their confrontation, resulting in the creation of Fat Buu, a childlike version of the monster. Fat Buu inherited the Grand Supreme Kai's innocence, which tempered his wild and evil nature, making him far more docile and easier to control. Seizing the opportunity, Bibidi sealed Majin Buu inside a sealed ball with little resistance. Shortly after, Shin killed Bibidi, leading the universe to believe that the threat of Majin Buu had been eradicated for good. However, 5 million years later, Fat Buu was resurrected on Earth by Babidi, Bibidi's son or doppelganger. What followed was a series of chaotic events, including Fat Buu murdering Babidi, the clash between Good Buu and Evil Buu, the emergence of Super Buu, and the eventual removal of all individuals absorbed by Super Buu, Gotenks, Piccolo, Gohan, and Fat Buu by Goku and Vegeta while inside his body. These events culminated in the rebirth of Kid Buu, the original, pure, evil incarnation of Majin Buu. After Kid Buu's destruction in Dragon Ball Z, he was reincarnated by King Yama as Oob, an innocent human boy possessing Kid Buu's immense power. Although currently untrained, Oob became a vital ally to Goku and the Z-Fighters, representing the potential for redemption and growth even for a being born of pure destruction. Majin Buu's legacy extended beyond his actions on Earth though. His unparalleled reign of terror earned him a fearsome reputation across Universe 7, so much so that King Cold warned his own son Frieza to never challenge Majin Buu. In Dragon Ball Super, it's revealed that Kid Buu retained the power of a god from his absorption from the Grand Supreme Kai after splitting from him during the climactic battles with Goku and Vegeta. Majin Buu's existence, from his chaotic upbringings to his eventual reincarnation, remains one of the most compelling and impactful stories in the Dragon Ball universe.
Of course, before any creation must come destruction.
Though not a villain in the conventional sense, Lord Beerus is the god of destruction for Universe 7 and serves as the main antagonist in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. Beyond his angelic attendant Whis, his siblings, father, and Grand Zeno himself, Beerus is the most powerful entity in his universe. Despite his immense strength, he's often lazy and lacks enthusiasm for his duties, except when Zeno is involved. Beerus is acutely aware that the Omni King could erase him from existence with ease. Beerus is known for his hot-headed and selfish demeanor, often displaying a short temper over trivial matters, such as being denied pudding. Having lived for over 75 million years, Beerus has witnessed numerous universe-ending threats, yet frequently prioritized his sleep over intervening. This is evident during the long-standing conflict with Majin Buu, a threat Beerus could have easily neutralized, but chose to ignore. True to his title, Beerus wields the power of destruction, granting him the ability to obliterate entire planets with a mere touch, eradicate them with a sneeze, or even erase individuals from existence with a simple gesture. Both Goku and Vegeta, two of Universe 7's most powerful mortals, have faced Beerus individually, only to be soundly defeated. To this day, neither Saiyan is strong enough to match him, and the full extent of Beerus's power remains a mystery. His reputation as a fearsome deity precedes him. The Supreme Kai tremble at his strength, and even Frieza, one of the most notorious villains in the universe, was explicitly warned by his father to never provoke Beerus. However, Beerus is not entirely invincible. According to Whis, Beerus's life is intrinsically tied to that of the Supreme Kai of Universe 7, Shin. If one were to die, the other would perish as well. This connection was demonstrated in future Trunks' timeline, where Shin's death at the hands of Dabura and Babidi also resulted in Beerus' demise, leaving Universe 7 without a god of destruction. Despite his destructive role, Beerus has a complex sense of morality. While he despises evil beings, he has no qualms about using them to further his own objectives. For instance, he allowed Frieza to maintain his vast galactic empire, even though he disapproved of the tyrant's actions. In fact, though Frieza had his own motives for destroying the Saiyan homeworld, planet Vegeta, Beerus had already ordered its destruction, finding the task too bothersome to handle personally. These days, Beerus alternates between his own planet and Earth, drawn to Earth's culinary delights, a key reason he decided not to destroy the planet after defeating Goku in their first encounter. Alongside Whis, Beerus has taken on a more supportive role in Dragon Ball Super, training Goku and Vegeta in the art of divine combat.
For your persistent insolence and repeated affronts toward a deity, you will now reap the swift and severe consequences of your actions!
Zamasu, the former North Kai of Universe 10 and Supreme Kai apprentice under Gowasu, was initially selected as Gowasu's successor due to his remarkable potential and intellect. However, this decision would lead to universal consequences. Zamasu appeared calm and methodical on the surface, but his true nature revealed a deep mistrust for mortals. He viewed them as inherently flawed, incapable of resolving conflict without resorting to violence, and trapped in an endless cycle of war and destruction. Zamasu's warped sense of justice led him to believe that the eradication of mortals was the only solution to prevent further chaos. His encounter with Goku marked a turning point. Zamasu became enraged by Goku's carefree demeanor and perceived disrespect toward divine authority. The fact that a mortal like Goku could attain power comparable to that of the gods and casually challenge them deeply offended Zamasu, solidifying his belief in the inherent evil of mortals. His disdain extended to the gods as well, who he deemed useless for allowing mortals to thrive unchecked. This growing hatred and obsession with the imperfection of mortal life drove Zamasu to devise a radical plan to annihilate all mortals across existence. Zamasu's descent into villainy spanned across multiple timelines. His actions became increasingly malicious as he enacted his Zero Mortal plan, seeking to eliminate all mortals and the gods who protected them. When confronted with the devastation caused by his counterparts in alternate timelines, Zamasu displayed no remorse. Instead, he expressed delight in witnessing the extent of his influence and the scale of destruction his ideology had caused. Across timelines, Zamasu's corruption led to a series of chaotic events, including the death of his master Gowasu and the other Supreme Kai, which in turn resulted in the demise of their respective gods of destruction. Recognizing the growing threat, Beerus, the god of destruction for Universe 7, intervened and erased the present Zamasu before he could execute his plan. However, this decisive action wasn't enough to halt the looming catastrophe, as Zamasu's schemes across parallel worlds were already in motion, signaling the arrival of greater chaos.
Go on, Goku! Rejoice! Only through me will you finally reach the pinnacle of beauty you have sought for so very long!
Goku Black, in essence, is Zamasu's soul inhabiting Goku's mortal body. In an alternate timeline, Zamasu used the Super Dragon Balls in Universe 6 to swap bodies with Goku from Universe 7. Once in Goku's body, Zamasu mercilessly killed the Saiyan himself, along with his wife Chi-Chi and their son Goten. This act marked the beginning of Zamasu's reign of terror, as he went on to murder his master Gowasu, Trunks' mother Bulma, and the majority of Earth's population. Serving as one of the primary antagonists of future Trunks' timeline, Goku Black partnered with future Zamasu, another alternate counterpart of himself who became immortal, to execute their shared plan of annihilating all mortals across every timeline. Goku Black retains Goku's physical appearance but dons dark clothing and a single Potara earring, symbolizing his Kai origins. Zamasu stole Goku's body after witnessing its potential, recognizing it as an ideal vessel to attain the strength necessary to fulfill his genocidal ambitions. A battle-hardened masochist, Black takes pleasure in receiving pain during combat, deriving joy from the thrill of the fight and the opportunity to grow stronger with each injury. This inclination mirrors certain traits from the Goku of the stolen timeline, reflecting the Saiyan's instinctive drive to seek challenges and improve through combat. Black, however, channels this trait into his sadistic enjoyment of destruction and his insatiable desire to face formidable foes, often holding back his power to prolong fights and savor the experience. Despite his willingness to kill indiscriminately, Black exhibits a Saiyan-like determination to grow stronger through personal effort, disdaining shortcuts, ironic given that his very existence as Goku Black is a shortcut to immense power. His relentless pursuit of strength is evident as he vows to hunt down future Trunks after the latter escapes to the past. Leveraging the Saiyan cells in his stolen body, Black continuously grows stronger by recovering from injuries and near-death experiences, a trait that enables him to rival and eventually surpass even the strongest Z fighters. In the manga, Black exploits this regenerative ability to push himself further, first matching Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta while still in his standard Super Saiyan form, and eventually surpassing the power of a Super Saiyan God. He develops his own unique transformation, Super Saiyan Rosé, which further enhances his power and solidifies him as a near unstoppable force. The threat of Goku Black proved overwhelming for Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, as the trio struggled to contend with his escalating strength and tactical superiority. Despite Trunks' growing power, Black consistently remained one step ahead, forcing the heroes to retreat multiple times amidst chaotic confrontations. Though Black arguably came close to being defeated on several occasions, he was never truly vanquished before fusing with future Zamasu, creating a being of such immense power that Goku and his allies could not hope to defeat him alone.
All hail Zamasu.
Merge Zamasu, the Potara fusion of Goku Black and future Zamasu, stands as the final antagonist in future Trunks' timeline. This fusion combines Goku Black's overwhelming power and future Zamasu's immortality, creating a being of unparalleled strength and partial invincibility. Retaining the arrogance and self-righteousness of both individuals, Merge Zamasu views himself as the ultimate embodiment of justice and divine brilliance. Declaring himself a supreme god, he begins his unrelenting assault on his enemies, convinced of his divine mission to purge mortals from existence. Despite their best efforts, Goku and Vegeta are hopelessly outmatched by Merge Zamasu's overwhelming power. As a last resort, they use the Potara earrings to fuse into Vegito Blue, engaging Zamasu in an intense battle. Although Vegito initially gains the upper hand, the fusion ultimately proves unable to finish the job before the time limit expires, leaving Zamasu to claim victory once again. Merge Zamasu's downfall eventually comes at the hands of future Trunks, who, wielding the Sword of Hope, delivers a decisive blow to the tyrant. However, Zamasu's essence refuses to fade entirely. In the anime, his will persists as an infinite, omnipresent force, spreading to consume the remnants of Earth itself. In the manga, Zamasu's determination manifests as thousands of clones, each intent on pursuing Goku and the others across dimensions to complete his divine mission. Both iterations of Merge Zamasu prove so overwhelming that only the intervention of the Omni King, Grand Zeno, is sufficient to stop him. Using his unparalleled power of erasure, Zeno obliterates Zamasu entirely, but at the cost of wiping out future Trunks' entire timeline.
Might makes right, and might alone! Without strength, we have nothing!
Jiren the Grey, while not a villain in the traditional sense, is the most formidable fighter of the Pride Troopers from Universe 11. Renowned for his unparalleled strength, Jiren is considered one of the strongest mortals in the multiverse, even surpassing the power of his universe's god of destruction. A reserved and honorable warrior, Jiren embodies strength and justice, adhering to a philosophy that absolute power is the key to achieving his ideals. Preferring to rely solely on his own abilities, Jiren often fought alone, and his overwhelming power ensured victory in nearly every battle. Jiren serves as the main antagonist in the Tournament of Power, presenting arguably the greatest challenge Goku and his allies have ever faced. His unwavering sense of duty to Universe 11 stems from his tragic past, marked by the loss of his loved ones and his master, Gichin. This trauma fueled Jiren's belief that strength is the ultimate path to justice, shaping his relentless pursuit of power and self-perfection. However, Jiren's singular reliance on strength began to evolve during his intense battle with Goku and his friends, particularly as he witnessed their unyielding trust and camaraderie. In his climactic battle with Goku, Jiren unlocked previously unimaginable reserves of power, going toe-to-toe with Goku's newly acquired Ultra Instinct form, an ability so advanced that even the gods of destruction find it challenging to master. Despite his incredible power, Jiren ultimately learned that strength is not the only path to greatness, as Goku and his friends demonstrated the significance of trust, teamwork, and resilience. Jiren's journey in the Tournament of Power redefined the essence of strength, leaving a lasting impact on the Dragon Ball universe. His epic clash with the Saiyans remains a cornerstone moment, carrying its influence into future arcs of the series.
I was so sure my strength was getting close to its peak, but then this guy showed up and was so much stronger than me. He's probably even stronger than Beerus.
Broly, the redefined Saiyan mutant and son of Paragus, isn't what you would call a villain in the traditional sense either. He's the latest of Universe 7's legendary Super Saiyans, demonic Saiyan warriors who appear every 1,000 years. Mind you, legends, by their very nature, are open to interpretation. Born on planet Vegeta shortly after Prince Vegeta, Broly's extraordinary power, which surpassed that of the young prince, led to King Vegeta exiling him to a remote and inhospitable planet Vampa. The king feared Broly's potential to outshine his son and become an uncontrollable threat. Stranded on Vampa for over 40 years, Broly survived in harsh isolation alongside his father until they were discovered and rescued by Chilai and Lemo of the Frieza Force. Recognizing Broly's unmatched strength, Frieza sought to manipulate him and Paragus into battling Goku and Vegeta, hoping to use Broly as a tool in his quest for universal dominance. However, Frieza's plan backfired spectacularly. Broly, though a quiet and reserved Saiyan with a deep love for his companions, possesses monstrous strength. In his first encounter with Goku and Vegeta, his inability to control his immense rage led him to undergo multiple transformations, including Super Saiyan, pushing both Goku and Vegeta to their limits. The battle escalated to such extremes that the Saiyan duo were forced to fuse into Gogeta to gain the upper hand. Even then, Broly proved incredibly resilient, making him one of the most challenging foes they had ever faced. The battle concluded when Chilai used the Dragon Balls to wish Broly back to planet Vampa, sparing Earth from further destruction and saving Broly from certain defeat. Following this intense confrontation, Goku sought out Broly on Vampa, befriending him and helping to relocate him, along with Chilai and Lemo, to Beerus' planet to avoid Frieza's reach. Now, Broly is learning to control his immense power and manage his rage, even mastering his Super Saiyan form. With his newfound stability, Broly has become the newest rival to Goku and Vegeta, marking a new chapter in his journey in the Saiyan legacy. Moro, the consumer of worlds, is a formidable wizard who once posed a catastrophic threat to Universe 7 approximately 10 million years ago. Making his terrifying return, Moro became the central antagonist of the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. Completely devoid of compassion or respect for life, Moro views all living beings as mere sustenance for his pleasure, ridiculing the very concept of universal peace. Deceptive and manipulative by nature, he exploited others to achieve his goals, such as using Cranberry to restore his lost powers and enlisting the Saganbo gang to cement his position as the universe's strongest. Moro typically speaks with a calm and composed demeanor, but this facade crumbles into seething rage whenever he encounters the Grand Supreme Kai, against whom he's harbored an ancient grudge. Millions of years ago, Moro's rampage across the universe led to the complete extinction of life on 320 planets. During his climactic battle with the Grand Supreme Kai and South Supreme Kai, both of whom faced Moro and Majin Buu on separate occasions without the assistance of Beerus, he unleashed his devastating magic, siphoning the life energy of entire worlds and consuming it to amplify his power further. Ultimately, the Grand Supreme Kai made a grave sacrifice, depleting his godly power to seal Moro's magic and imprison him. The Galactic Patrol sentenced Moro to death for his crimes, but no one was strong enough to carry out the execution, leaving him confined for the next 10 million years. This imprisonment ended when Cranberry freed him, unleashing Moro back into the cosmos. Following his escape, Moro engaged in a series of devastating battles, pitting his formidable forces against Earth's defenders. His relentless onslaught pushed the Z-Fighters to the brink of defeat, with Moro nearly annihilating them all with ease. The intervention of Beerus, the angel brother of Whis, helped stall Moro long enough for Goku to master Ultra Instinct. Even so, Moro continued to escalate the stakes, almost triggering a galactic self-destruction in his desperation to win. Ultimately, peace was restored thanks to Oob's unwitting intervention, providing the energy needed to vanquish Moro and save Universe 7 from his malevolent grasp. Granolah is the last surviving member of the Cerulean race, a people eradicated by the Saiyans many years ago under the command of Frieza and King Vegeta. Among the victims of this genocide was his mother, whose death played a pivotal role in shaping Granolah's deep-seated hatred for the Saiyans. Saiyans. In his youth, Granolah became a bounty hunter for a group known as the Heaters, a powerful and manipulative organization. Driven by his desire for vengeance, Granolah eventually made a wish using his planet's Dragon Balls to become the strongest warrior in the universe. Armed with unparalleled strength, he confronted Goku and Vegeta, pushing the two Saiyans to their limits and nearly killing them. It wasn't until the intervention of Minato, a surviving Namekian from his homeworld, that Granolah learned the truth. The Saiyans were not his true enemies. In fact, Goku's father, Bardock, had saved Granolah's life when he was a child. The real culprits were the Heaters themselves. Led by Elec, with members Maki, Oil, and Gas, the Heaters served as brokers under Frieza, profiting from the conquest and sales of planets. Their ultimate goal was to overthrow Frieza and seize control of the galaxy for themselves. To achieve this, the Heaters manipulated Granolah into fighting Goku and Vegeta, hoping the universe's most powerful threats would eliminate each other. While Granolah clashed with the Saiyans, Elec used the Cerulean Dragon Balls to grant Gas, the Heaters' strongest member, the title of the universe's strongest warrior. Gas unleashed his devastating power, nearly killing Granolah, Goku, and Vegeta. However, the combined efforts of the three slowed Gas down just enough. It was Frieza, arriving in his new Black Frieza form, who ultimately delivered the fatal blow to Gas with ease. After showcasing his immense power by humiliating Goku and Vegeta in battle, Frieza chose to leave them alive, sparing Granolah as well. This sequence of events forced Granolah to confront his misguided hatred toward the Saiyans and recognize the true villains behind his suffering. Despite surviving the ordeal, Granolah faced a grim future. His wish for ultimate strength came at the cost of 150 years of his life, leaving him with only 3 years to live. Choosing not to join Goku and Vegeta in their training on Beerus' planet, Granolah stayed on his homeworld, accepting his limited time. As of now, it's presumed that Granolah is either in his final days or has already succumbed to the consequences of his fateful wish.
Is that all you've got? Okay then, guess it's my turn.
Cell Max is a bio-android engineered by Dr. Hedo, designed as an enhanced version of Cell with vastly superior power. His appearance closely resembles the semi-perfect form of the original Cell, although Cell Max is predominantly red rather than green. Magenta, the son of Commander Red, the infamous former leader of the Red Ribbon Army, was the current head of Red Pharmaceuticals, a seemingly legitimate company that secretly served as a cover for the revived Red Ribbon organization. Seeking revenge against Goku and his allies, Magenta employed Dr. Hedo, the genius grandson of Dr. Gero, to create a new line of androids to fulfill his goals. Despite the successful creation of the Gamma androids, which Dr. Hedo deemed sufficient, Magenta insisted on completing Cell Max to prioritize his plans for vengeance. While Cell Max's physical form was finished though, his mind control program remained incomplete. This oversight proved critical, as Magenta prematurely activated Cell Max, resulting in a completely mindless and uncontrollable berserk creature. Unlike the original Cell, who exhibited a calm and calculating demeanor, Cell Max lacked rationality, though he demonstrated a level of combat instinct strong enough to challenge experienced warriors like Piccolo. Even in his orange state, Piccolo faced tremendous difficulty holding his own against Cell Max. In both the anime and manga adaptations, Cell Max is arguably portrayed as a near-universal threat, possessing raw power on a scale unlike anything Piccolo and his allies had previously encountered. Ultimately, it was Gohan's newly unlocked Beast form combined with the aid of his friends and Piccolo's guidance that led to Cell Max's defeat, averting the catastrophic danger he posed.
My friends, what the Saiyans have destroyed, we will rebuild. This is it.
Baby was the sole survivor of the Tuffle race, resurrected and rebuilt by his creator, or creation, Dr. Mu, as a machine mutant in Dragon Ball GT. His purpose was to exterminate the Saiyans and restore his race by taking control of Earth's population. In a distant galaxy, the Tuffles and Saiyans waged a brutal war, during which the last of the Tuffles engineered genetically superior life forms, parasite-like organisms infused with the DNA of the Tuffle King. These parasites were sent across the universe with a single goal: to exact revenge on the Saiyans for the destruction of the Tuffle race at the hands of King Vegeta. Baby became the first of these Tuffle parasites to return, seeking vengeance against the Saiyans and devising his universal Tuffleization plan to revive his race. Upon arriving on Earth, Baby successfully gained control of Goku's friends and family, ultimately possessing Vegeta, who became the perfect host for his schemes. In Vegeta's body, Baby achieved multiple transformations, including Super Baby 1 and Super Baby 2, which are advanced forms comparable to Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2. Baby's power is immense, surpassing Goku's even in his Super Saiyan 3 form. However, it's worth noting that Goku wasn't fully accustomed to this form due to his smaller body at the time. Baby's overwhelming strength forced Goku to transform into a Great Ape, and with his newly regrown tail, Goku further ascended into the form of Super Saiyan 4. Despite Baby's immense power and the advantages of Vegeta's Saiyan body, Super Saiyan 4 Goku ultimately proved to be too strong. In a climactic battle, Goku unleashed a devastating Kamehameha wave, propelling Baby into the sun where he's vaporized, ending his plans for revenge and ensuring the safety of the Saiyan race and the universe.
It's flattering to see the kind of show you put on for your most dangerous enemies, but ultimately, it's meaningless. Let me show you what I mean.
After Baby is defeated by Goku, peace seems to have been restored at last. However, in the depths of hell, two notorious masterminds, Dr. Mew and Dr. Gero, devise a horrific scheme to create the ultimate android capable of finally eliminating Goku. Their plan involves merging the existing Android 17 on Earth with a machine mutant they construct in Hell, resulting in the creation of a terrifyingly powerful android. The result of their fusion is Super Android 17, a being that combines the strength and abilities of both Android 17 and Hellfighter 17. Super Android 17 views himself as the ultimate android, determined to prove his superiority by killing Super Saiyan 4 Goku. His overwhelming power and confidence lead him to dismiss all others as inferior, a personality trait reminiscent of Dr. Gero's earlier attempt to create the strongest android, Perfect Cell. However, in this instance, Super Android 17 is said to surpass Perfect Cell in strength. His power proves to be an insurmountable challenge for Vegeta and the others, as well as Goku, who struggles to overcome him even in Super Saiyan 4. Ultimately, it's through the intervention of Android 18 that Goku is able to find an opening to exploit. With her assistance, Goku seizes the opportunity to unleash his Dragon Fist technique, delivering a decisive blow that destroys Super Android 17.
Your people, your culture, your planet, everything you've worked for, you can kiss it all goodbye.
Tien Shinhan, also known as Omega Shenron, is the 7th and final Shadow Dragon to appear, representing the 1-star Dragon Ball. As the primary antagonist of the Shadow Dragon saga and the ultimate villain of Dragon Ball GT, Omega Shenron stands as a formidable and malevolent force. The Shadow Dragons themselves are dark beings born from the accumulated negative energy created by the overuse of the Dragon Balls throughout the series. Each time a wish was made, both positive and negative energies were released. While the positive energy fulfilled the wish, the negative energy was absorbed by the Dragon Balls and slowly built up over time. Eventually, this imbalance led to the birth of the Shadow Dragons. Omega Shenron emerged as the result of the wish made by Mr. Popo in Dragon Ball Z to revive everyone on planet Namek who had been killed by Frieza and his soldiers. His unparalleled power among the Shadow Dragons likely stems from the magnitude of this wish. To call Omega Shenron powerful would be an understatement. His strength was so immense that neither Goku nor Vegeta could defeat him individually, even in their Super Saiyan 4 forms. The dire situation forced the Saiyans to fuse, creating Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in a desperate attempt to counter Omega Shenron's overwhelming might. Despite being vastly outmatched by Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Omega Shenron's resilience proved extraordinary. He survived a point-blank assault from Gogeta's most powerful attack, the Big Bang Kamehameha, and managed to outlast the time limit of the fusion, leaving Earth's defenders in a state of futility. In the end, the only attack capable of defeating Omega Shenron was the Spirit Bomb, but the energy from the Earth alone was insufficient. Goku had to reach out to the entire universe, gathering energy to create the Universal Spirit Bomb. With this ultimate attack, Omega Shenron was finally obliterated, restoring both the Earth and the Dragon Balls to their original states, marking the end of his reign of terror.
I told you, I will never die!
Garlic Jr., a power-hungry immortal, served as the main villain in Dragon Ball Z Movie 1, Dead Zone. Once the son of Garlic, a demonic contender who tried for the role of Earth's guardian centuries prior, Garlic Jr. sought vengeance after his father's ambitions were crushed by Kami. Driven by hatred for both Kami and humanity, Garlic Jr. amassed power over the years, ultimately gathering the 7 Dragon Balls to wish for immortality. Unlike typical villains who desired conquest or destruction, Garlic Jr. craved eternal life to ensure that his reign would last forever. With his wish granted, he opened the Dead Zone, a dark vortex capable of trapping enemies in an eternal void. Garlic Jr. captured Goku's infant son, Gohan, in a ploy to draw out the Z-Fighters and assert his power. However, his arrogance proved to be his downfall. Goku, Piccolo, and Kami confronted him directly in a climactic battle. Though he demonstrated impressive strength and resilience due to his immortality, Garlic Jr. ultimately underestimated the group's combined efforts and Gohan's hidden potential. In a sudden burst of latent rage, Gohan shattered Garlic Jr.'s castle and sent him spiraling into the very dead zone he created. Trapped for eternity, the immortal villain's ambition ironically became his prison. That is, until he escaped after the battle with Frieza.
Is that all you've got? Your pathetic planet is about to die!
Dr. Wheelo, once a brilliant but controversial scientist, is the main villain in movie 2. Decades before the events of the film, Dr. Wheelo was celebrated for his scientific genius, but his obsession with achieving physical and intellectual perfection led to dangerous and unethical experiments. When his body was destroyed in an avalanche during one of his experiments, his devoted assistant, Dr. Kochin, preserved Wheelo's brain and placed it in a colossal, mechanized biosuit within a hidden lab buried in the icy mountains. There, he waited for the perfect body to house his brilliant mind. Believing Master Roshi to still be the world's strongest martial artist, Dr. Wheelo dispatched bio warriors to retrieve him, only to be disappointed by the old master's decline. When he learned of Goku's incredible power, Wheelo became fixated on claiming Goku's body for his own. His mutated creations were unleashed upon the Z-Fighters in an attempt to test their strength and wear them down. As the battle escalated, Wheelo himself joined the fray, wielding devastating psychic powers and overwhelming brute strength with his titanic mechanical form. Despite his massive size and telekinetic abilities, he was no match for the combined might of Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin. Goku's use of the Spirit Bomb proved to be Wheelo's undoing, destroying both his mechanical shell and his twisted ambitions.
Kakarot, you are a disgrace to your people. Thousands of years of evolution and you cast it aside for a multitude of weaklings.
Turles, a rogue Saiyan warrior and former low-class soldier, is the main villain in movie 3. Surprisingly similar in appearance to Goku, Turles represented what Goku could have become had he embraced his Saiyan heritage and mission to conquer planets. Cold, calculating, and driven by a lust for power, Turles traveled the galaxy with a small crew of elite mercenaries known as the Turles Crusher Corps. His sinister plan brought him to Earth, where he sought to plant the Tree of Might, a parasitic alien tree that devoured a planet's life force and produced a single fruit capable of exponentially increasing the consumer's power. Turles had already ravaged countless worlds, leaving behind barren husks in his wake. His henchmen engaged Earth's defenders to buy time for the tree to grow. While his team battled Goku's allies, Turles confronted Goku himself, amused by their identical looks, but disgusted by Goku's refusal to embrace his Saiyan heritage. After consuming the fruit from the Tree of Might, Turles' power skyrocketed, allowing him to overpower Goku even in his Kaioken state. Yet, it was Goku's will and connection to Earth's remaining energy that proved helpful. By forming a spirit bomb drawn from the life force that hadn't yet been consumed, Goku unleashed a final, devastating attack that destroyed both Turles and the monstrous tree he had planted.
Yesterday you might have had a chance, but thanks to the Dragon Balls, you're fighting Lord Slug in his prime!
Lord Slug, an ancient and tyrannical Namekian warlord, is the main villain in movie 4. Born as a super Namekian, Slug was exiled from planet Namek due to his immense power and evil nature. Over the centuries, he carved a path of destruction across the cosmos, leading a technologically advanced army and conquering countless planets. By the time he reached Earth, Slug was decrepit and near death, but upon collecting the Dragon Balls, he wished for his youth to be restored, regaining both his vitality and terrifying strength. Unlike Piccolo, a fellow Namekian who had embraced Earth's values, Slug represented the dark potential of their race, cold, brutal, and bent on domination. His elite squad of henchmen served him with loyalty and cruelty. Once on Earth, Slug deployed his forces to terrorize cities and terraform the planet into a new base of operations by manipulating Earth's climate, plunging it into an unnatural, frozen darkness. Slug quickly proved his superiority by defeating Goku and his allies with ease. But during battle, despite Slug's transformation into a giant form post his fight with Goku as a false Super Saiyan, Piccolo realized the truth about Slug's origins and relied on Gohan for help. Upon discovering Slug's weakness to high-pitched frequencies, an inherent trait of all Namekians, Gohan used his whistling to weaken the tyrant. Goku used a spirit bomb formed from the last reserves of Earth's energy to obliterate Slug, ending his terror among the cosmos.
Frieza deserved to die if he got beat by a weakling like you. I am the supreme master of this universe.
Cooler, the older brother of Frieza, is the main villain in movie 5. Unlike his impulsive and arrogant younger brother, Cooler was colder, more calculating, and possessed a ruthless strategic mind. Though he once witnessed Goku's Saiyan space pod escape the destruction of planet Vegeta, he chose not to interfere, seeing the mission as Frieza's responsibility. Years later, when he learned of Frieza's death at the hands of a Saiyan on Earth, Cooler's pride and sense of superiority compelled him to confront the warrior who had embarrassed his bloodline. Accompanied by his elite strike team, the Cooler Armored Squadron, Cooler made his way to Earth for revenge. The squad decimated landscapes, cornering Goku and his allies in a relentless hunt. Goku, caught off guard and wounded while protecting Gohan, found himself at the mercy of Cooler's overwhelming strength. Unlike Frieza, Cooler had unlocked a final transformation, an advanced fifth form that granted him immense power and a fearsome new appearance. In this form, Cooler dominated the battlefield, outmatching Goku even after he recovered. But as the Earth itself suffered under Cooler's wrath, Goku's rage ignited. Tapping into the full power of a Super Saiyan, Goku turned the tide, launching a devastating assault that overwhelmed Cooler and sent him hurtling into the sun. Even as he burned, Cooler's final thoughts were filled not with fear, but with disbelief, unable to comprehend how a low-level Saiyan could bring down the might of his lineage.
Super Saiyans, yes, but monkeys all the same. You're still all show and no substance.
Metal Cooler, the reborn and mechanized form of Cooler, is the main villain in movie 6. After his defeat at the hands of Super Saiyan Goku and his presumed death in the sun, Cooler's remains were discovered by the sentient, planet-sized machine known as the Big Getty Star, a living, cybernetic intelligence that roamed the galaxy assimilating technology and organic matter. Merging with the core of this colossal entity, Cooler was revived as a cybernetic being, his consciousness fused with the star's systems. No longer bound by biology, he gained the ability to replicate his mechanical body indefinitely, creating endless copies of himself to serve as extensions of his will. Driven by both revenge and the Big Getty Star's programming to consume and control, Metal Cooler set his sights on New Namek, intending to drain the planet's energy and use its life force to sustain the star's expansion. Goku and Vegeta arrive to confront this threat, only to be overwhelmed by Metal Cooler's enhanced strength and relentless assault. In his metallic form, Cooler possessed increased durability, regeneration, and adaptability. Each time he was damaged, his body self-repaired instantly, forcing the Saiyan duo to escalate their power again and again. Even after Goku and Vegeta managed to destroy a single Metal Cooler in a hard-fought battle, they were horrified to see hundreds more emerge from the canyons, revealing that the true villain was not a single entity, but a legion. Captured and restrained within the Big Getty Star, they learned that Cooler's mind had been replicated and linked to the main computer, enabling him to mass-produce endless bodies. In a final act of resistance, the two Saiyans used a combined energy overload to sabotage the star's systems from within, causing a chain reaction that destroyed both the Big Getty Star and every iteration of Metal Cooler.
War, segregation, hatred. Is that what you've done with your free will, boy? Don't you lecture me with your $30 haircut. Goku dies.
Android 13, a deadly remnant of Dr. Gero's legacy, is the main villain in movie 7. Even after Dr. Gero's death at the hands of his own creations, his supercomputer continued operating deep beneath the Earth, silently executing his final directive: destroy Goku at all costs. The computer's continued work resulted in the activation of 3 new androids, 13, 14, and 15, each designed to assess, track, and eliminate Goku using advanced combat algorithms and overwhelming force. Androids 14 and 15 struck first, attacking Goku in the middle of a crowded shopping district and forcing the Z-Fighters, including future Trunks and Vegeta, into an immediate confrontation. The trio of Saiyans managed to hold their own, but the true threat emerged when Android 13 arrived on the scene, calm, composed, and lethal, with a southern accent and unwavering focus on his target. After Vegeta and Trunks successfully destroyed androids 14 and 15, the fight took a dark turn. Android 13 absorbed their remains, triggering a transformation into Super Android 13, a huge, blue-skinned monster with a dramatic spike in power and aggression. In this form, 13's intelligence became secondary to his programming, driven by pure instinct to kill Goku. He easily overpowered the Z-Fighters, brushing off their coordinated attacks and punishing them with devastating energy blasts and brute force. Despite their Super Saiyan transformations, Goku and his allies were pushed to their limits. In a desperate attempt, Goku created a spirit bomb, gathering energy from the planet. Holding the attack in base form, he absorbed the energy into his Super Saiyan state, allowing him to unleash a single, powerful strike. The blow obliterated Super Android 13 and shut down Dr. Gero's computer for good.
If you had just let me kill you all before, you wouldn't be dealing with this pain now. You're all complete and utter waste of Saiyan blood.
Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, is the main villain in movie 8. Born with an extraordinary power level that far exceeded any known Saiyan infant, including Prince Vegeta, Broly was feared even as a newborn. His uncontrollable power triggered paranoia in King Vegeta, who deemed him a threat to Saiyan rule and ordered his execution. Broly survived the attempt on his life and the destruction of planet Vegeta alongside his father Paragus, who harbored deep resentment toward King Vegeta's bloodline. Over the years, Paragus raised Broly in secret, using a mind control device to suppress his son's unstable rage while plotting vengeance against the Saiyan monarchy. Paragus lured Vegeta and the Z-Fighters to a distant planet under the false pretense of rebuilding a new Saiyan homeworld. Once there, the trap was sprung. Broly, seemingly calm and quiet at first, began to unravel as his suppressed fury surfaced, triggered by Goku's voice, which unknowingly haunted him since their birth. The mind control device failed to contain Broly's immense power, and he transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan, a towering, berserk warrior with a uniquely muscular frame and green aura. In this form, Broly's strength surpassed that of all the Z-Fighters combined. He tore through Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, future Trunks, and Gohan with sadistic ease, reveling in the destruction and chaos. Unlike other Saiyans, Broly didn't fight for pride or purpose. He was a force of nature, fueled purely by rage and instinct. Even Vegeta, paralyzed by the realization that Broly was the true Saiyan of legend, hesitated to fight him. The tide only turned when Goku, drawing energy from his allies, landed a desperate final punch directly to Broly's stomach, a concentrated blow that channeled their combined strength into a single point. Severely wounded, Broly was launched into space as the planet crumbled beneath them.
It's been so long since I've snapped someone's neck.
Bojack, a ruthless space pirate and the leader of the Galaxy Soldiers, is the main villain in movie 9. Long ago, Bojack and his crew terrorized the cosmos, conquering planets and killing all who stood in their way. Their reign of destruction was so extreme that the 4 Kai of the galaxy intervened, ultimately imprisoning Bojack beneath the surface of a distant star, sealed away for eternity. However, when Goku sacrificed himself to defeat Cell and King Kai's planet was destroyed in the aftermath, the cosmic seal containing Bojack was shattered, inadvertently unleashing him back into the universe. With his freedom restored, Bojack set his sights on Earth, arriving during a grand intergalactic martial arts tournament hosted by Hercule. Disguising himself and his warriors as competitors, Bojack quickly revealed his intentions by transforming the tournament into a deadly battlefield. His elite crew overpowered the Z-Fighters, isolating and overwhelming them one by one. Gohan emerged as the final line of defense, fighting valiantly but outmatched by Bojack's raw strength and ruthless tactics. Unlike other villains driven by revenge or conquest, Bojack fought for chaos and domination, taking pleasure in watching his enemies suffer. He pushed Gohan to the brink, taunting him and brutally crushing his hope, until Goku, watching from the other world, briefly intervened by warping in and striking Bojack to save his son. Inspired and enraged, Gohan tapped into the full fury of his Super Saiyan 2 form, unleashing a wave of power that obliterated Bojack's lieutenants and finally Bojack himself in a climactic explosion.
I've had enough!
Not until you lie dead at my feet.
Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, returned as the main villain in movie 10, thought to have died after being launched into space by Goku's final attack. Broly survived, crash landing on Earth and falling into a deep coma. Frozen beneath a layer of ice for 7 years, his body remained intact while his hatred for Goku continued to smolder in his subconscious. It was this residual rage that reawakened him when he heard cries from Goten, similar to the echoes of Kakarot's voice as a child. Broly awoke in a frenzy, his mind still clouded by his obsession with the one Saiyan he couldn't destroy. Now a wild, feral version of his former self, Broly's mental state had deteriorated during his absence. He emerged from the ice with a single purpose: to annihilate anything connected to Goku. Goten, Trunks, and Videl accidentally stumbled upon the sleeping giant while searching for the Dragon Balls, and their discovery reignited Broly's fury. Without hesitation, he launched into a brutal assault, forcing Goten and Trunks into a desperate game of survival. Gohan soon arrived to help them, but even his Super Saiyan strength wasn't enough to stop Broly's onslaught. His power grew increasingly unstable as the battle dragged on, his body radiating with his signature aura and overwhelming might. But it was the spirit of Goku, reaching from the other world during Goten's plea for help, that turned the tide. In a climactic moment, Goku briefly appeared alongside his sons. The 3 Saiyans, united in body and spirit, launched a combined Kamehameha that overpowered Broly's final attack and engulfed him in a blinding surge of energy. Unable to withstand the blast, Broly was obliterated, his legacy seemingly brought to an end by the very family he was consumed with destroying. Broly, or rather his grotesque clone, resurfaced in a new form as the villain of movie 11. Though the original legendary Super Saiyan had seemingly been annihilated, remnants of his DNA were recovered by a wealthy, power-hungry bioengineer named Lord Jaguar, who financed a private biotechnology lab with the aim of creating unstoppable bioweapons. Working alongside disgraced scientist Dr. Coley, they cloned Broly using genetic samples and intended to mass-produce clones of the galaxy's strongest warriors. However, the original Broly's essence proved too volatile to contain. The clone was submerged in a vat of a specialized biofluid meant to keep it stable, but a lab malfunction caused the containment to break. When the fluid made contact with the clone, it mutated Broly's body, transforming him into a deformed, oozing monstrosity, Bio Broly. Stripped of his Saiyan pride and humanity, this abomination retained the original's immense power and primal rage, though his mind had been reduced to a near animalistic state. Goten, Trunks, Android 18, and Krillin were drawn into the chaos after being invited to Jaguar's Island under false pretenses. Unprepared for the resurrection of such a powerful foe, they struggled to contain Bio Broly's violent attack. Broly's body adapted and began to spread like a virus, threatening to escape into the wider world. The heroes, however, turned the environment against him. Discovering that seawater caused the biofluid to harden into stone, they lured the creature into a massive tidal wave triggered by Goten and Trunks' combined Kamehameha. Bio Broly, roaring in defiance, was engulfed and petrified mid-attack, ending his rampage in a frozen scream. Janemba, a bizarre and reality-warping demon, is the main villain in movie 12. Within the Otherworld, a teenage ogre working at King Yema's check-in station was assigned to monitor the soul cleansing machine, a device used to purify the evil from departed souls. However, a malfunction caused the machine to rupture, releasing a concentrated wave of pure, negative energy. The blast transformed the ogre into a monstrous, bloated entity, Janemba's first form, a yellow, childlike behemoth with reality-bending powers. In this state, Janemba possessed an innocent demeanor but wielded terrifying abilities. He distorted space with ease, turning the fabric of reality into a chaotic playground of cubes and portals. Goku, sent from Otherworld to investigate, confronted the creature and was baffled by his opponent's unpredictable, physics-defying techniques. But the true horror surfaced when Janemba was wounded. The damage caused his body to morph, transforming him into his final form, a sleek, devilish warrior wielding a dark energy sword. In this form, Janemba's playful innocence vanished, replaced by silent bloodlust. Faster, stronger, and far more deadly, he overwhelmed Goku with brutal precision. Vegeta, recently deceased and reluctant to fight alongside his longtime rival, intervened, but both Saiyans were individually outmatched by the demon's speed, swordplay, and regeneration. Realizing that neither could win alone, Goku and Vegeta performed the fusion dance, a precise technique that, when executed flawlessly, creates a single warrior far stronger than the sum of its parts. Thus, Gogeta was born, a fusion so powerful that Janemba stood no chance. In a dazzling fury of speed and power, Gogeta dismantled Janemba and purified the evil essence that had corrupted the ogre. Hirudegarn, an ancient, nightmarish monster of mythical proportions, is the final villain in movie 13. Hirudegarn originated from a distant world, Konitz, a peaceful planet once ravaged by the creature's apocalyptic rampage. Created through dark sorcery by the wicked priest Kashvar, Hirudegarn was a two-stage demon summoned to lay waste to civilians and feed off destruction. His power was so immense that the people of Konitz were helpless until a pair of brave warriors, Tapion and his younger brother Minota, volunteered to seal the beast away. Using enchanted ocarinas and magical containment within their own bodies, the two siblings were separated, each holding half of Hirudegarn's essence within themselves. Though the threat was neutralized, the cost was eternal imprisonment. Years later, a mysterious old man named Hoi arrived on Earth, pleading with the Z-Fighters to release Tapion from an enchanted music box, claiming he was a hero who needed help. In truth, Hoi sought to resurrect Hirudegarn by reuniting both halves of the monster. Once Tapion was freed and Hirudegarn's energy began to leak out, Earth became the demon's next target. As Hirudegarn's full form reassembled, he emerged as a colossal, uncontrollable beast. Unlike previous villains, Hirudegarn didn't speak, reason, or gloat. He was chaos incarnate, attacking cities with brute force and teleporting erratically through space with terrifying agility. Even Super Saiyan warriors were powerless against his overwhelming size and unpredictable phasing body. Gotenks, Gohan, and Vegeta fought valiantly, but their attacks were mostly ineffective. It was then that Goku stepped forward and unveiled a new, awe-inspiring technique, the Dragon Fist, a blazing, dragon-shaped attack born from his own spirit. The creature roared one last time before vanishing into nothingness, finally ending the millennia-old terror. Ai is, or was, Emperor Pilaf's female minion, recruited by Pilaf through a want ad. She always works alongside Shu, and despite her intelligence, the two of them always manage to fail their missions. She's a calculating opponent who relies on weaponry and technology, and almost always maintains a serious tone. Although Mai was originally a grown woman, she eventually took the form of a young, preteen girl because of a wish on the Dragon Balls alongside Pilaf and Shu that went wrong. Regardless, Mai is loyal to Pilaf and faithfully remains under his command throughout the entire series regardless of the circumstances. She's been present for a while, from watching Kid Goku rampage as a great ape to involving herself with King Piccolo and even meeting future Trunks. Throughout Dragon Ball Super, Mai and her future counterpart share similarities and differences, especially toward the Trunks from their respective timelines. In the future, she developed romantic feelings for him and deeply cares about his well-being. The same thing can't yet be said about present Trunks, because Mai's more mature personality clashes with Trunks' legitimate teenage personality, and with Trunks being unaware of Mai's true age, the two have a very peculiar relationship, which is mostly one-sided for Trunks due to Mai's admiration for his more responsible future counterpart. From Dragon Ball Super onward, Mai, like the rest of the gang, experienced a change of heart and became a better person after her escapades in the original Dragon Ball series. Since the wish that turned her into a kid, she's matured into a teenager despite actually being much older, and now spends her days at Capsule Corporation alongside Pilaf and Shu. Shu is a humanoid dog and the ninja henchman of Emperor Pilaf, also recruited by Pilaf through a want ad. Like most things involving Pilaf, Shu mainly serves as comic relief. Although he's occasionally shown some skills as a ninja, his cowardice and awkward personality usually keep it from lasting very long. Like Mai and Pilaf, Shu has been around for much of the Dragon Ball series, supporting his team in their many attempts to gather all 7 Dragon Balls to wish for world domination when Goku was a kid, although every one of those attempts failed. They have used the Dragon Balls for other purposes though. In Dragon Ball Z, at some point during the 3 years before the android's arrival off-screen, the Pilaf gang used the Dragon Balls to wish for their youth, turning Shu into a kid alongside the rest of his team. Shu also used the Dragon Balls to wish for 1 million Zeni after Frieza was revived in Resurrection F. Slowly growing back into adulthood and likely aware that Pilaf will never achieve world domination, Shu currently spends his days working at Capsule Corporation alongside Mai and Pilaf. Most recently, they helped repair helper bots after they mysteriously malfunctioned in the superhero saga. Colonel Silver was a high-ranking officer in the Red Ribbon Army who was assigned by Commander Red to find a Dragon Ball. During his mission, he encountered Goku and used a rocket launcher to destroy Goku's flying Nimbus. Goku attempted to walk away with the Dragon Balls he had in his possession, but Silver refused to let him leave. He tried to fight Goku and was easily defeated, knocked out cold. Silver was later called back to the Red Ribbon Army headquarters for questioning. He begged for another chance, but Commander Red refused. Red ordered his guards to remove Silver from his sight, and Silver left the room with the guards pursuing him. To this day, it remains unknown whether Silver was executed or managed to escape. Major Metallotron was an android created by the Red Ribbon Army. He was stoic and carried out any assignment given to him without hesitation, including killing Goku. When fighting Goku, Metallotron gave him some trouble and was able to withstand a considerable amount of damage. After enduring headbutts, punches, and even impalement, the Major kept up his assault on Goku, only stopping once his batteries were drained of their energy. Goku noted that Metallotron was so powerful he could have competed in the World Tournament, and it's unknown whether the android could have defeated Goku if his batteries hadn't run out when they did. Booyan was a giant, round-bellied pink monster and the secret weapon that lived inside the Red Ribbon Army's Muscle Tower. He was originally born on the unnamed planet of the Jigglers. At some point, he ended up on Earth, where the Red Ribbon Army eventually discovered him. When Muscle Tower was constructed, Buu was placed on the 5th floor to serve as an executioner for any intruders who managed to reach the 6th floor. In other words, he functioned as General White's final line of defense. When Goku and Android 8 were trapped with Buu by General White, the situation was tough. At first, Buu appeared to be nearly invincible. His body was extremely flexible and capable of repelling attacks like Goku's Kamehameha and physical strikes, and he could even fire electrical blasts from his antenna. Buu apparently fed on Kado when he was hungry, and he nearly came close to devouring both Goku and Android 8. Eventually, Goku realized that Buu's weakness was the cold. Goku smashed a hole in the wall of Muscle Tower, froze Buu completely solid, and kicked him with enough force that he shattered into pieces, which killed him. General White was the commander of Muscle Tower, the northern fortress of the Red Ribbon Army. He was the oldest of the known officers, and while he wasn't a gifted strategist, he was the only officer to ever figure out that Goku's weakness was his tail. He was also somewhat of a skilled fighter, as shown when he fought Goku. Goku, however, proved to be stronger. General White pretended to surrender and then shot Goku in the back of the head at point-blank range, which was believed to have killed him, and in a fit of rage, Android 8 punched General White out of Muscle Tower, sending him to his death. Murasaki was a ninja and a member of the Red Ribbon Army, serving as second in command of Muscle Tower under General White. Murasaki was extremely confident in his own abilities, but they were no match for Goku's. When Murasaki realized he couldn't defeat Goku on his own, he tried to get Android 8 to kill him, but Android 8 refused. Murasaki then tried to detonate the android using a bomb installed inside him, but Goku stepped in and knocked Murasaki unconscious. Murasaki also had 4 identical brothers who appeared to be clones, but Goku defeated them too. They were killed when Android 8 destroyed Muscle Tower, while Murasaki himself managed to escape. In a final encounter with Goku, Murasaki escaped on a snowmobile until Goku triggered an avalanche with a Kamehameha. Murasaki survived the avalanche and vowed revenge, but Goku accidentally tossed Android 8's bomb onto Murasaki, which quickly exploded and killed him. Captain Dark was an obese soldier who served under General Blue of the Red Ribbon Army. When Blue assigned Dark the task of capturing Master Roshi under the belief that he had invented the Dragon Radar, he had no idea what was waiting for him. Roshi killed Captain Dark with a single punch to his stomach and also took out the rest of his crew. General Blue was a high-ranking officer in the Red Ribbon Army and the leader of the Blue Corps. He was known for his powerful psychic abilities and was considered one of the strongest officers in the organization. Blue was extremely loyal to the Red Ribbon Army, but was also strict, arrogant, and openly cruel, often executing his own soldiers for even minor failures. He was also rumored to be homosexual, though it was never confirmed. During the Red Ribbon Army saga, Commander Red assigned Blue the mission of assassinating Goku after Colonel Silver and General White failed. Blue tracked Goku and his friends while also attempting to capture the inventor of the Dragon Radar, eventually following them to the Pirate Cave in search of the Dragon Balls. Inside the cave, he fought Krillin and defeated him, then battled Goku but was ultimately beaten by luck. After surviving the collapse of the pirate hideout and randomly being defeated by Rayleigh, Blue stole the Dragon Radar before returning to Red Ribbon headquarters. Commander Red acknowledged that obtaining the radar was useful, but reminded Blue that his true mission was to gather the Dragon Balls. He then gave him one chance to redeem himself by fighting Mercenary Tao. Blue fought Tao, but Tao easily killed him. Captain Yellow was a humanoid tiger and an operative of the Red Ribbon Army who attempted to find the Dragon Balls for Commander Red. While doing this, he encountered Bora, a native from the land of Korin. When Bora refused to hand over the Dragon Ball, Captain Yellow kidnapped Bora's son Upa in an attempt to use him as a hostage. Unfortunately for Yellow, Goku happened to arrive at the same time. Goku punched Yellow out of his plane and he fell to his death. Colonel Violet was the only confirmed female officer in the Red Ribbon Army, although her appearance in Dragon Ball was very brief. Unlike most of the Red Ribbon staff who were either killed or beaten by Goku, Colonel Violet managed to escape. During Goku's raid on the Red Ribbon base, Violet, rather than fighting Goku like the other soldiers, ran to the Red Ribbon vault, stole the army's valuables, and fled the base by aircraft, never being seen again. A photograph of Violet was shown on Magenta's desk alongside a picture of Commander Red in the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie, suggesting a deeper connection with Commander Red, although this hasn't been explained. Officer Black was an assistant to Commander Red in the Red Ribbon Army. He followed Red's orders and kept him updated on the into situations involving other Red Ribbon soldiers. Officer Black was skilled with firearms and was also capable in hand-to-hand combat, which arguably made him one of the strongest members of the Red Ribbon Army. Even though Black was extremely loyal to Commander Red, there were limits to how far he was willing to go. When Black discovered that Red planned to use the Dragon Balls to make himself taller instead of using them for the benefit of the army, Black snapped and killed Commander Red. Black attempted to fight Goku, but he was completely outmatched. Once the fight got intense, Black resorted to using a Red Ribbon battle jacket in an attempt to kill Goku with a high-powered missile, showing just how little he cared about advancing the Red Ribbon Army's goals when his own life was at risk. However, Goku punched straight through the battle jacket and it exploded with Black still inside, killing him instantly. Mercenary Tao was a deadly assassin for hire and the younger brother of Master Shen. Born shortly before the King Piccolo Wars, he trained under Master Mutaito alongside his brother, but the two formed a bitter rivalry that eventually drove them apart. Tao later became a mercenary who charged high prices for his work and took cruel pleasure in killing, even bragging that he would destroy anyone, including women and children, if the money was good. While his lifespan was never explained, Tao seemed to have lived for more than 200 years. During his career, Tao trained Tien at the Crane School and became one of the main influences in his early fighting style. About 20 years into his mercenary career, the Red Ribbon Army hired Tao to kill Goku after the boy beat several of their operatives and gathered their Dragon Balls. Tao killed General Blue before this mission, and at first defeated Goku with the Dodon Ray, thinking he had killed him. After Goku survived and trained with Korin, the two fought again at Korin Tower. This time, Goku easily beat Tao. Desperate to protect his reputation, Tao tried to fool Goku with a fake surrender and threw a grenade at him, but Goku kicked it back, causing the blast that seemed to kill the assassin. Tao later returned, rebuilt as a cyborg, and entered the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament looking for revenge on both Goku and Tien. After beating Chaozu in the preliminaries, Tao faced Tien in the tournament. Outmatched by Tien's strength, Tao turned to cheating by attacking with a hidden blade. Even after being disqualified, he kept fighting until Tien knocked him out, and Master Shen carried him away in disgrace. Years later during the Cell Saga, Tao briefly appeared working as a bodyguard and later as a hired enforcer searching for the Dragon Balls. He ran into both Gohan and a grown Goku during these events, but ended up backing off instead of fighting them. Although never directly shown, it's implied that Mercenary Tao was eventually killed during Majin Buu's rampage on Earth and was never brought back to life. Master Shen was the founder and master of the Crane School and the older brother of Mercenary Tao. Long before the events of the main series, Shen trained under the legendary martial arts master Master Mutaito alongside his brother and fellow student Master Roshi. During this time, Shen learned powerful techniques and martial arts discipline, but he also developed a far more ruthless and prideful outlook than his fellow students. According to Roshi, Shen's personality changed dramatically during the conflict with King Piccolo. When King Piccolo first defeated Mutaito, Roshi believed their master couldn't bear the shame of losing in front of his own students. Mutaito later returned and used the evil containment wave to seal King Piccolo away, but the technique cost him his life. Shen was never the same again. The humiliation of his master's defeat and the weight of Mutaito's sacrifice darkened Shen's heart and left a lasting bitterness in him. Eventually, the surviving students went their separate ways. While Roshi chose a path centered on humility and self-improvement by founding the Turtle School, Shen instead created the Crane School and embraced a far harsher philosophy that encouraged arrogance, cruelty, and victory at any cost. Over time, Shen's resentment toward Roshi grew into a deep rivalry, and the Crane School became the ideological opposite of Roshi's teachings. Like Roshi and Tao, Shen also appeared to possess an unusually long lifespan and may have obtained some form of immortality, allowing him to live for well over 200 years. Shen later trained two of his most notable students, Tien and Chaozu, raising them to believe that strength and domination over others were the ultimate goals of martial artists. When Tien and Chaozu entered the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, Shen attended as their master and openly displayed his hatred toward Roshi and the Turtle School fighters. During the tournament, he encouraged Tien to brutally defeat his opponents and even ordered Chaozu to use telekinesis to cheat during Tien's match with Goku. However, after witnessing the the honorable behavior of Goku and the others, Tien began questioning the cruel philosophy Shen had taught him. When Shen realized Tien was abandoning the Crane School's ideals, he angrily disowned both Tien and Chaozu and left the tournament in frustration. Years later, during the 23rd World Tournament, Shen returned alongside his brother when Tao sought revenge against Tien, though Shen mostly remained on the sidelines. At that point, he faded from the main story and was rarely seen again. Similar to his brother, it's implied that Master Shen was killed during Majin Buu's rampage on Earth and was never revived afterward. Fangs is a vampire who serves as one of Fortune Teller Baba's 5 champions during the battles held at Baba's palace. Born over 500 years ago, he later appears during the Fortune Teller Baba saga as Baba's first fighter when Goku and his friends are forced to defeat her warriors in order to gain information on a missing Dragon Ball. When his match starts, Fangs fights Krillin, beating him in the first round of the tournament. After beating Krillin, he later faces Puar and Upa, whose use of traditional anti-vampire methods caused him to lose the match and be eliminated from the tournament. Fangs hasn't been seen in Dragon Ball since. See-Through the Invisible Man is another one of Baba's hired fighters. He appears as Baba's second warrior and fights Yamcha in the next match. Because his entire advantage comes from being invisible, Yamcha struggles to even locate him while the fight is going on, and Baba helps her champion by singing loudly so Yamcha can't hear See-Through's movements. The situation changes when Master Roshi suddenly sprays blood from a nosebleed, which splashes onto See-Through and makes his body visible. Once he can be seen, Yamcha defeats him. The Invisible Man hasn't been seen in Dragon Ball since. Literally. Bandages the Mummy is a living dead warrior who also fights on behalf of Fortune Teller Baba. Born roughly 800 years before the events of Baba's tournament, he serves as the third warrior representing her in the battles held inside Baba's palace. While he appears large and sluggish at first glance, he's actually far faster and stronger than he looks, which often causes opponents to underestimate him. During Baba's tournament, he faces Yamcha and defeats him, with Master Roshi even noting that no one has ever beaten Bandages before. After that match, he goes on to fight Goku, but Goku ultimately defeats him and advances to the next round. Much later during the Majin Buu saga, Bandages is killed off screen when Super Buu wipes out Earth's population. After Earth's people are revived, he later contributes his energy to Goku's Super Spirit Bomb alongside Spike. Spike the Devil Man is a devil from Hell and one of Baba's most dangerous fighters, known for using dark magic against his opponents. He was once considered the strongest among her champions until Grandpa Gohan showed up. Very little is known about his early life, but Spike was born in Hell and later won the World Martial Arts Tournament twice. He's a tall, winged demon who relies on both physical attacks and his signature Devil Might Beam, a technique that turns an opponent's negative thoughts into destructive power. Spike watched Goku defeat Bandages the Mummy before stepping in himself. When the match began, Spike assumed Goku would be easy to beat, but Goku was anything but. Spike tried to finish the fight with a Devil Might Beam, but the attack failed because Goku has a pure heart. Spike was defeated when Goku kicked him into a wall, sending Goku into the next round against Grandpa Gohan. Much later in the Majin Buu saga, Spike was also killed off screen by Super Buu's human extinction attack, revived with the rest of Earth's population by Porunga, and then gave his energy to Goku's Super Spirit Bomb when Hercule asked the people of Earth to help. His current whereabouts are unknown, though it's likely he's not far from Fortune Teller Baba's. Shula was a demon who lived in the Demon Realm and was its best fighter. He was responsible for opening the giant entrance to the Demon Realm and keeping it open by wedging his cursed sword in the door. While the entrance remained open, Shula and his followers repeatedly attacked a nearby human kingdom at night, and he eventually kidnapped a young Princess Misa because he wanted to marry her. After this, King Cress sent Goku to rescue the princess. When Goku arrived in the Demon Realm, Shula was hosting a celebration for his future bride and agreed to fight Goku after being challenged. He battled Goku but was ultimately defeated, though Goku implied he might not have won if Shula wasn't so rusty. When Goku escaped with Misa, Shula ordered his minions to pursue them. Goku got away though and closed the entrance to the Demon Realm. Shula has never escaped since the entrance to the Demon Realm was sealed, though he's likely still alive. Piano was the first son of King Piccolo created after being released from the electric rice cooker and was one of the mutated Namekian children in his demon clan. Unlike King Piccolo's other sons, Piano wasn't a fighter-type Namekian and instead acted as his father's attendant, often helping with plans and ideas while stronger siblings like Tambourine and Symbol carried out the fighting. He was very intelligent and completely loyal to his father, never doubting King Piccolo's power even when others believed Goku had already defeated him. During the King Piccolo saga, Piano stayed at his father's side and survived longer than any of King Piccolo's other mutated sons, living long enough to witness King Piccolo seemingly kill Goku before the start of their final battle. During that battle, he was caught in the middle when Goku sent King Piccolo crashing into him. Piano was then seen sinking into the rubble beneath them, which apparently killed him as he fell underground. Tambourine was a mutated Namekian and the second son of King Piccolo, created shortly after Piccolo was released by Emperor Pilaf. A winged, gargoyle-like member of the Demon Clan, Tambourine was extremely cruel, arrogant, and cold-hearted, openly taking pleasure in slaughtering humans because he believed every race besides his own was inferior. He served as one of Piccolo's main assassins and was sent out under his father's orders to kill the competitors from the last 3 World Martial Arts tournaments who might pose a threat to Piccolo, while also collecting any Dragon Balls he encountered. His first victim was Krillin, whom he killed after the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament before stealing Goku's 4-star Dragon Ball and a list of tournament contestants. Tambourine later confronted Goku and defeated him while Goku was still weakened from his match with Tien, then continued carrying out King Piccolo's orders by murdering several more martial artists. Tambourine later confronted Yajirobe, but when Goku arrived, the two fought again, and this time Goku killed him with a Kamehameha. Tambourine's death revealed Goku's location to King Piccolo, which led to Piccolo taking Goku's Dragon Ball and restoring his youth. Symbol was another mutated Namekian and the third son of King Piccolo, a large, dragon-like member of the Demon Clan. He was specifically created to search for Dragon Balls, with King Piccolo even remarking that it was fitting for that kind of spawn to resemble a dragon. Like his siblings, Symbol was completely loyal to his father and devoted to carrying out his orders, though unlike Tambourine, he wasn't particularly sadistic and instead focused mainly on completing his mission. After Emperor Pilaf revealed the location of the nearest Dragon Ball, Symbol tracked down Goku and Yajirobe and demanded that they hand it over. He fought Yajirobe, but Yajirobe killed him and ate him. Drum was the last mutated Namekian and the 4th son King Piccolo created. Like the rest of Piccolo's children, he was ruthless and completely loyal to his father and the Demon Clan, believing their kind to be the superior species. Although he lived for the shortest time out of King Piccolo's sons, he was the strongest at the moment he was created because Piccolo brought him into existence while still in his prime. Drum was created when Tien arrived to challenge King Piccolo and attempted to seal him away with the evil containment wave. Piccolo decided Tien wasn't worth dealing with personally and sent Drum to handle him instead. Drum fought Tien and defeated him, though Goku arrived at the last minute and killed Drum with a single kick to the head. The Frieza Force is an interstellar military organization ruled by Frieza and used as the foundation of his empire across the universe. The group originally existed as Chilled's army, later became the Cold Force under King Cold, and eventually evolved into the Frieza Force when Frieza took control. In its earliest days under Chilled, the organization was little more than a band of space pirates, but under King Cold and later Frieza, it grew into a massive military force that controlled a large portion of Universe 7. The army operates mainly by conquering planets and selling those worlds to buyers, while also enslaving or forcing powerful races to serve them, including the Saiyans, who were compelled to work under the threat of their home planet being destroyed. Frieza rules the Force through fear rather than loyalty, with most soldiers serving him and his family because they were terrified of them, though certain elite groups such as the Ginyu Force were noted to be genuinely loyal. Despite commanding the organization, Frieza himself doesn't truly view it as a traditional army and instead treats it more like a convenient group of followers. At the peak of its power, Frieza alone was said to control at least 448 planets and roughly 70% of the universe through the overwhelming strength and intimidation of his family. The Saiyan Army, also called the Saiyan Armed Forces or the Vegeta Army, was the military force of the Saiyan race led by King Vegeta on planet Vegeta. Although King Vegeta commanded the army directly, the group ultimately served under a larger empire, first operating under King Cold's force before later becoming part of Frieza's empire when Frieza took control. Nearly every Saiyan who was physically and mentally capable was drafted into the Saiyan Army, making the entire race function largely as a warrior society built around conquest and combat missions. Before serving under Frieza's rule, the Saiyans fought in the Saiyan Tuffle War, a conflict that lasted about 10 years and ended when the Saiyans wiped out the Tuffles after transforming into great apes during a full moon, allowing them to fully take control of the planet that would later be called Planet Vegeta. After their annexation into King Cold's empire, the Saiyan Army became a military branch within the larger Cold Force and later the Frieza Force. Under that command structure, the Saiyan Army took part in numerous planetary conflicts while carrying out missions for the Empire across the universe. The army was composed entirely of Saiyan warriors, with King Vegeta serving as its king and Nappa later claiming to be its highest ranking and most powerful general. The organization continued operating until Frieza destroyed Planet Vegeta along with nearly the entire Saiyan race, effectively bringing the Saiyan Army to an end. Nappa was a mid-class Saiyan warrior from Planet Vegeta and the longtime combat partner of Prince Vegeta. Before the destruction of the Saiyan homeworld, he served as a general in the Saiyan Army and acted as an aide and subordinate to the young prince. Nappa was born into a noble Saiyan family, which granted him a high rank among his people, and he participated in the Saiyan Tuffle War when he was younger. After Planet Vegeta was destroyed, Nappa survived along Vegeta and Raditz and continued operating as a soldier under Frieza's command. In terms of personality, he's destructive, cocky, and somewhat sadistic, often toying with opponents and relying heavily on brute force rather than careful strategy. During the Saiyan saga, Nappa traveled to Earth with Vegeta after hearing Raditz's message about the Dragon Balls, and upon arriving, he immediately demonstrated his power by destroying a city. He later fought the Z-Fighters and overwhelmed them, killing several of them before Goku arrived. Nappa battled Goku, but was completely outmatched and beaten. He was paralyzed from the fight, and Vegeta decided that Nappa was no longer useful and killed him himself. Cybermen were small green humanoid creatures grown from special seeds and used as disposable soldiers by Saiyans and later the Frieza Force. They were originally native to another planet and had evolved from plant life before the Saiyans discovered them and began using them as weapons. Because harvesting their bulbs was difficult, they were considered rare and valuable, and they were later modified through biotechnology before eventually becoming a standard tool used by the Frieza Force. Cybermen had only limited intelligence, but were capable of understanding simple orders, which made them useful as obedient fighters and training opponents. The specific type used by Vegeta and Nappa was an advanced model, though many of the Cybermen had previously been deployed to the planet Tridic, where most of them were lost in battle. During the Saiyan saga, Nappa planted the last 6 Cybermen seeds on Earth while preparing to fight the Z-Fighters. One Cyberman fought Tien and was defeated, another fought Yamcha and killed him with a self-destruct attack, and the remaining Cybermen were killed by Krillin and Piccolo. In Dragon Ball Daima, the last 2 Cybermen seeds in Marba's possession were used to create Majin Kuu and Majin Duu. Apul was a mid-ranking soldier in the Frieza Force whose intelligence and abilities placed him above most ordinary foot soldiers, though he still ranked below officers like Zarbon, Dodoria, and Kui. He's loyal and obedient to Frieza's command, while also being somewhat arrogant and cocky when he believed he had the advantage. Apul was among the soldiers chosen by Dodoria and Zarbon for the mission to invade Namek. Once on Namek, Apul was assigned to scout the planet and report any sightings of Namekian villages that might contain Dragon Balls, eventually joining Frieza's raiding group during the attack on Mori's village. After that, Apul later discovered that the final Namekian village had already been destroyed by Vegeta and reported the information back to Frieza. He was then ordered to guard Vegeta while the Saiyan recovered in a medical machine, so Frieza could interrogate him once he woke up. That plan failed when Vegeta healed early and escaped, killing Apul with a single energy wave. Kui was an elite soldier in the Frieza Force and one of Frieza's higher-ranking commanders. He was arrogant and cruel, often mocking other races and treating Vegeta with open contempt despite their shared role under Frieza. Before the events on Namek, Kui and Vegeta had developed a rivalry while both served in Frieza's army, and Kui believed he was still stronger than Vegeta the last time they had met. During the Frieza saga, Kui approached Vegeta after his recovery on planet Frieza 79 and informed him that Frieza, Zarbon, and Dodoria had already traveled to Namek to search for the Dragon Balls. After Vegeta left, Kui received permission from Frieza to finally eliminate his rival, something he had wanted to do for a long time. He followed Vegeta to Namek and confronted him there in an attempt to settle their rivalry, but he wasn't prepared for how strong Vegeta had become and was killed easily. Dodoria was a powerful and brutal Eagle Warrior who served as one of the highest-ranking officers in the Frieza Force and acted as one of Frieza's two main generals alongside Zarbon. Before Frieza took command of the Empire, Dodoria had originally served under King Cold as a member of the Cold Force, and he remained one of the most trusted fighters in the organization after Frieza assumed control. He was known for his violent personality and crude behavior, often acting impulsively and taking pleasure in cruelty, especially when dealing with weaker opponents. Despite his confidence in his own strength, Dodoria also showed fear when confronted with someone stronger than himself, revealing that his loyalty to Frieza was partly driven by intimidation. Years before the events on Namek, Dodoria took part in the attack on Bardock and his squad, and was present during the destruction of planet Vegeta, which wiped out most of the Saiyan race. During the Frieza saga, Dodoria traveled to planet Namek with Frieza and Zarbon as part of the mission to gather the Dragon Balls. While searching the planet, he helped Frieza collect information by attacking Namekian villages and slaughtering those who refused to reveal the location of the Dragon Balls. After Vegeta began moving against Frieza's forces and killed Kui, Dodoria was sent to track him down and stop him. He later battled Vegeta but was ultimately defeated, and before dying, he revealed the truth about Frieza's role in destroying the Saiyan homeworld. Zarbon was one of the top-ranking officers in the Frieza Force and served as one of the two primary generals under Frieza alongside Dodoria. He was known for his elegant appearance and calm demeanor, often presenting himself as refined and composed, though his vanity also made him reluctant to rely on his more monstrous transformation. Zarbon valued beauty and took pride in his appearance, preferring to maintain his graceful form whenever possible. Despite his confidence and arrogance, he ultimately served Frieza out of fear and remained completely loyal to him as a subordinate. Long before the events on Namek, Zarbon acted as one of Frieza's closest advisors during his campaigns of conquest and was present during discussions surrounding the destruction of the Saiyan race, openly mocking Vegeta and the rest of the Saiyans. When Frieza traveled to planet Namek in search of the Dragon Balls, Zarbon accompanied him as part of the main invasion force and helped gather information by attacking Namekian villages. After Vegeta killed Kui and later defeated Dodoria, Zarbon became Frieza's strongest remaining elite soldier on the planet. Frieza ordered him to track down Vegeta and recover the stolen Dragon Balls. Zarbon fought Vegeta and defeated him after transforming, but because he failed to confirm Vegeta's death, Frieza forced him to retrieve the Saiyan alive for questioning. Zarbon brought Vegeta back to Frieza's ship to be healed, but the situation quickly turned against him when Vegeta recovered and escaped. The two fought again soon after, and this time, Vegeta brutally killed Zarbon. King Cold was the former Emperor of Universe 7 and the original leader of the Cold Force before control of the Empire was passed down to his son, Frieza. He was one of the rare mutants of his race, possessing abnormal levels of power that made his family feared across the galaxy. He's calm, aristocratic, and soft-spoken, often behaving with polite manners and a composed attitude, though beneath the calm exterior, he was arrogant and fully convinced of his family's superiority over others. At some point during his reign, King Cold visited planet Vegeta and formally announced his retirement, informing the Saiyans that they would now serve under Frieza instead of him. Years later, after Frieza was defeated on planet Namek by a Super Saiyan, King Cold recovered what remained of his son's body and had him rebuilt with mechanical parts. Once Frieza had recovered, the two traveled to Earth together with the intention of confronting the Super Saiyan responsible for defeating him. Shortly after arriving, they encountered future Trunks, who revealed himself as another Super Saiyan. King Cold tried to manipulate the situation by offering Trunks a place at his side and promising him control over entire planets, but when that failed, he tried to attack him instead. Cold was humiliated by Trunks and killed shortly after. When Frieza was revived in Resurrection F, he rejected the idea of reviving his father alongside him, leaving him trapped somewhere in hell forever. The Spice Boys were a group of 4 demon warriors named Spice, Vinegar, Mustard, and Salt, who served as the main followers of Garlic Jr. during the Garlic Jr. saga. They were strong, brave, and evil demons who were completely loyal to their master and acted as his primary enforcers in his attempt to take over Earth. During Garlic Jr.'s plan to spread the Blackwater Mist across the planet, the Spice Boys helped him capture Kami and seize control of the Lookout after he escaped from the Dead Zone. As part of that operation, Salt and Mustard attacked Gohan and later helped restrain Piccolo so that Earthlings infected by the Blackwater Mist could bite him. When Gohan and Krillin eventually arrived at the Lookout, Salt and Mustard fought them and badly injured both fighters until Gohan unleashed his hidden power and killed the two demons with a Masenko. After their deaths, Spice and Vinegar confronted Gohan and Krillin and continued fighting them on the lookout. Once the Makio Star appeared and strengthened the demons, the two began overwhelming the boys. Gohan then released his power again and killed both Spice and Vinegar at the same time, bringing an end to the Spice Boys. Android 19 was the 19th android creation by Dr. Gero, and the final one he designed to be built entirely as a mechanical android. He was created as part of Gero's long-standing plan to destroy Goku and avenge the fall of the Red Ribbon Army. Android 19 was responsible for transplanting Dr. Gero's brain into the android body that later became Android 20. Out of all of Gero's creations, 19 is extremely loyal and obedient to his creator, faithfully following orders and fully supporting Gero's revenge against Goku. He was also confident in his abilities and cruel toward his opponents, though he relied heavily on the battle data Gero had collected years earlier and became overconfident because of it. During the Android saga, Android 19 appeared alongside Android 20 during the attack near South City and was one of the first androids the Z-Fighters encountered. He later fought Goku and briefly gained the advantage after Goku was weakened by the heart virus. After that, he turned his attention to Vegeta and claimed that Dr. Gero already studied all of his fighting techniques. Android 19 fought Vegeta, but was quickly overwhelmed by his Super Saiyan form. When the fight turned against him, he panicked and tried to escape, but Vegeta destroyed him with the Big Bang attack. The Cell Juniors were small offspring created by Cell during the Cell games through cellular mitosis from his tail. Cell made them after Gohan claimed that his power only rises when he becomes angry, intending to push him to unleashing that hidden strength. Cell stated that each Cell Jr. possessed the same abilities and power level as he did, making them extremely dangerous despite their small size. Personality-wise, the Cell Juniors were playful, mischievous, and cruel, often acting childlike while enjoying the chance to torment their opponents and carry out Cell's orders. During the Cell games, they were sent out to attack the other Z-Fighters and quickly overwhelmed them. They later battled Gohan, but were easily destroyed once Gohan transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. In Dragon Ball Super, however, the Cell Juniors survived because their nuclei remained intact, allowing them to regenerate. Android 17 eventually discovered them and tamed them, keeping them on Monster Island where they helped protect the wildlife from poachers. They briefly encountered Goten and Trunks during the events of the Tournament of Power before recognizing their ranger uniforms and leaving peacefully. Spopovich was a human martial artist who competed in the World Martial Arts Tournament and was known as a longtime rival of Hercule. Before the events of the Majin Buu saga, he participated in the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament where he was defeated by Hercule. Years later, Spopovich returned for the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament alongside his partner Yamu, though his appearance and behavior had changed drastically after falling under Babidi's mind control. He was aggressive, brutal, and bloodthirsty, with a violent temper that often made him more reckless than Yamu, though he still followed Yamu's instructions during their mission. During the tournament, Spopovich faced Videl and mercilessly beat her in the ring, using the fight as an opportunity to humiliate Hercule before finally knocking her out after Yamu ordered him to stop prolonging the match. Afterward, Spopovich and Yamu confronted Gohan and helped subdue him so Yamu could drain his energy with Babidi's device. Once the energy was collected, the two fled and led Shin and the Z-Fighters back to Babidi's hidden spaceship. When they delivered the stolen energy, Babidi took back the device and immediately disposed of Spopovich by causing his body to swell and explode. Yamu was an Earthling who appeared as a fighter in the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament and served as the partner of Spopovich while working under Babidi's control. Before falling under Babidi's manipulation, he had been an ordinary human, but the sorcery altered his appearance and granted him unnatural strength and abilities. Unlike Spopovich, Yamu was calmer and more intelligent, often acting as the one who kept Spopovich focused rather than letting him lose control. After delivering the stolen energy from Gohan and witnessing Spopovich's death, Yamu tried to escape, but he was quickly killed by Pui Pui before he could get away. Pui Pui was a warrior who served under Babidi and acted as the guardian of the first level inside Babidi's spaceship during the Majin Buu saga. He's arrogant, boastful, and extremely confident in his own strength, often bragging about his abilities and believing himself to be superior to anyone who challenged him. Despite his arrogance, he remained completely loyal to Babidi and eagerly followed his orders. When Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Shin later entered Babidi's spaceship to stop Majin Buu's revival, Pui Pui was assigned as the first opponent waiting inside the ship. Vegeta volunteered to fight him, and Pui Pui was easily killed, even after Babidi transported the fight to Pui Pui's home planet Zune, where the gravity was 10 times stronger than Earth's. Yakon was a monstrous creature who had also served as one of Babidi's minions and guarded the second level inside Babidi's spaceship. He's a feared monster from a planet of perpetual darkness, and states that his reputation was so well known that even the Supreme Kai had heard of him before meeting him. Yakon is savage and gluttonous, driven largely by hunger and possessing an insatiable appetite that even led him to devour Babidi's own messengers, despite them serving the same master. After Pui Pui was defeated on the first level of the spaceship, Babidi summoned Yakon to act as the next opponent waiting inside the ship. When Goku and the others continued descending through the ship, Yakon became Goku's opponent. Babidi transported the battle to Yakon's home planet, believing that would give Yakon the advantage. However, Yakon was killed after consuming more of Goku's energy than his body could handle, causing him to explode. Babidi was an evil wizard who lived roughly 5 million years before the events of Dragon Ball and was responsible for unleashing Majin Buu on the universe. He was a cruel and selfish sorcerer who used powerful magic to manipulate others and pursue domination. At some point in the distant past, Babidi awakened Majin Buu and began using the monster to destroy entire worlds. Buu's power proved too difficult to control, however, and after the creature rampaged across the universe and killed several Supreme Kai, Babidi eventually sealed him inside a magic ball whenever he needed to restrain him. During this period, Buu destroyed many planets under Bibidi's direction, while Babidi attempted to keep the monster obedient through tricks, control, and promises of sweets. Eventually, Babidi sent the sealed ball containing Buu toward Earth with the intention of releasing him there. But before he could carry out that plan, he was confronted by the surviving Supreme Kai, Shin. Babidi battled Shin, but he was killed before he could awaken Majin Buu again. Babidi was an evil alien wizard and the son or doppelganger of Babidi. At some point, Babidi formed his own group of followers and began searching for a way to revive Majin Buu in order to avenge Bibidi's death and continue his plans of destruction. Using his magic and manipulation sorcery, Babidi gathered servants from across the universe and forced many of them into loyalty, including Dabura, who became one of his most powerful servants. Babidi was cruel, sadistic, and childish, often treating his own followers as disposable tools and taking pleasure in causing suffering. When Goku and the others tracked him down to his hidden spaceship, Babidi used his minions and magic to drain even more energy from their battles. He later casted a spell on Vegeta, turning him into Majin Vegeta in order to draw out more power for Buu's revival. Once Majin Buu was finally back, Babidi initially controlled him by threatening to seal him away again and directed him to destroy cities across Earth. Even after Piccolo sliced him in half, Babidi survived and continued riding on Buu's back while ordering him to cause destruction. Eventually, Babidi's constant insults and scolding pushed Buu too far, and Buu killed him. Degesu was a Glend from the Demon Realm and the younger brother of Shin and Dr. Arinsu, serving under Goma as one of his top subordinates during the Daima Saga. He was serious and organized, while also being ambitious and cowardly. Degesu believed that Glens should naturally rise to positions of power, and secretly wanted to become the Supreme Demon King himself, despite lacking a clear plan. He also resented Shin, looked down on mortals, and was willing to use force when necessary. During the Daima Saga, Degesu worked closely with Goma as they observed the events surrounding Majin Buu using a magic monitor and learned about the strength of Earth's fighters. He traveled with Goma and Neva to Earth, helped prevent Dende from interfering when Goma summoned Shenron, and assisted in taking Dende back to the Demon Realm to stop further use of Earth's Dragon Balls. As Goku's group entered the Demon Realm and began gathering their Dragon Balls, Degesu remained by Goma's side and helped coordinate their forces. When the situation escalated, Degesu tried to escape with Dende and revealed his desire to become the next Supreme Demon King while holding him at gunpoint. but that plan quickly failed when the others intervened. Piccolo knocked him out, and he was captured and taken away. Following Goma's defeat, Degesu was sealed away alongside him in a jar for 99 years. Dr. Arinsu was a Glend from the Demon Realm, and the older sister of Shin and Degesu, who operated as a power-hungry and highly intelligent manipulator with the goal of overthrowing Goma and becoming the Supreme Demon King. She sought to strengthen the Demon Realm and elevate it above the rest of Universe 7, using careful planning and adaptability rather than brute force. Unlike Degesu, her ambition was backed by real cunning, as she constantly adjusted her strategies when plans failed and kept useful allies close even when they disappointed her. Despite her ruthless nature, she wasn't entirely cruel, as she still showed some level of kindness and remained on speaking terms with Shin even when they disagreed. Before the events of the Daima Saga, Arinsu had already begun plotting to obtain the Demon Realm Dragon Balls and create a powerful Majin to serve as her enforcer. She worked with Marba, the creator of Majin Buu, and after learning about Buu on Earth, she traveled there and collected a fragment of him after witnessing his regeneration. She later hired Glorio and used him as a proxy, intending to manipulate Goku into gathering the Demon Realm Dragon Balls for her. During the Daima Saga, Arinsu appeared at the Demon King's palace and pressured Goma into continuing to support her research, while also feeding into his concerns about the warriors who had defeated Majin Buu. While Goma and Degesu focused on using Earth's Dragon Balls, Arinsu secretly stayed in contact with Glorio and monitored Goku's progress as he collected the Demon Realm's Dragon Balls. She continued her experiments with Marba, first creating Majin Kuu and then Majin Duu. Once the Dragon Balls were gathered, she arrived with both Majins and attempted to claim them, but Goma's use of the evil third eye disrupted her plan and forced a temporary alliance against him. Near the end of the conflict, Arinsu pushed Glorio to make a wish that would turn her into the next Supreme Demon King with the greatest magical power, but he betrayed her and instead restored the Z-Fighters to their proper ages. Even after that setback, she adapted quickly, ordered Majin Kuu to retrieve the Book of Magic items, and used it to reveal how Goma could be defeated. After Goma and Degesu were sealed away, she was offered the position of Supreme Demon King, but declined due to her lack of magical ability, and she was instead chosen by Majin Kuu to become the Vice Supreme Demon King. The Tamagami were a trio of powerful entities created by Neva to guard the Demon Realm Dragon Balls, preventing anyone in the Demon Realm from easily obtaining a wish due to their overwhelming strength. Each Tamagami served as the protector of a specific Dragon Ball and required challengers to defeat them before claiming it. Tamagami number 3 was challenged by Goku for the 3-star Demon Realm Dragon Ball and was defeated, but he then gave Goku a final test involving a cup shuffling challenge, which Goku passed. Tamagami number 2 was challenged by Vegeta for the 2-star Demon Realm Dragon Ball and was also defeated, then gave Vegeta a final riddle that he successfully answered. Tamagami number 1 remained at the Demon King's palace guarding the final Dragon Ball and was first challenged by Majin Kuu, who failed, before Majin Duu later defeated him and passed a final mental arithmetic test with assistance from Kuu. Near the end of the conflict, after Goma gained the third eye and fought against everyone, Neva approached Tamagami number 1 and urged him to join the battle as well. Majin Kuu was a Majin created by Marba for Dr. Arinsu using a Cyberman seed, a fragment of Majin Buu, and other materials, and he later became the Supreme Demon King after Goma's defeat. Because of how he was created, Kuu was completely obedient to his creators and immediately followed Arinsu's orders, while also displaying an eccentric personality similar to Majin Buu. He often posed during combat, showed awareness of his own limits, and remained extremely devoted to Arinsu. At the same time, he desired companionship, quickly formed a bond with Majin Duu as his brother, and showed intelligence by accurately judging others and recognizing his own shortcomings. Before his creation, Arinsu had collected a fragment of Majin Buu after Vegeta failed to destroy him in the Buu Saga, and later gave it to Marba to create a new Majin to help her become the next Supreme Demon King. Soon, Majin Kuu was born and was immediately ordered to defeat Tamagami number 1 and retrieve the Dragon Ball. Kuu was quickly overwhelmed though, and surrendered after realizing he couldn't win. After Arinsu declared him a failure, he begged to remain useful and continued following her. He later helped create Majin Duu and helped him succeed against the Tamagami by solving the final arithmetic test so Duu could claim the Dragon Ball. During the final battle against Goma, Kuu was unable to directly fight Goma and instead carried out Arinsu's orders by retrieving the Book of Magic Items. Using his analytical ability, he located the necessary information and later struck Goma from behind, knocking the evil third eye loose and bringing an end to the battle. After Goma was sealed away, it was determined that the one who defeated the Demon King would take his place, which led to Majin Kuu becoming the new Supreme Demon King. Majin Duu was also a Majin created by Marba for Dr. Arinsu using a Cyberman seed infused with the essence of Majin Buu, making him the second Majin created after Kuu to serve her plans. He was a glutton who loved sweets, especially chocolate, and his strength and motivation were directly tied to how much he ate, becoming sluggish without it, but far more energetic and powerful after being fed. He was also unpredictable, dim-witted, and only mostly obedient, though he quickly formed a strong bond with Majin Kuu and treated him like an older brother. Majin Duu was created after Kuu failed against Tamagami No. 1 and was immediately sent to challenge the Guardian for the 1-star Demon Realm Dragon Ball. He fought Tamagami No. 1 and defeated him. When Goma eventually arrived with the evil third eye, forcing everyone into a temporary alliance, Majin Duu joined the battle against Goma, at one point fighting alongside Goku and even mimicking his Super Saiyan 3 form. After Goma was defeated and sealed away, Majin Kuu became the new Supreme Demon King and selected Duu to serve as one of his ministers. The Gendarmerie Force was a super elite division of the Gendarmerie that served directly under the Supreme Demon King in the first Demon World, consisting of Captain Kadem and his team members Janemba, Helia, Mashim, and Gaimoi. They were a group of flamboyant but powerful warriors, similar in style to the Ginyu Force, and were considered to be the strongest unit within the Gendarmerie. During the Daima Saga, Goma ordered Degesu to summon the Gendarmerie Force to his castle in order to reinforce security against Goku and his allies as they attempted to enter the first Demon World. When Goku's group eventually reached the castle, the Gendarmerie Force confronted them confidently, but they battled Vegeta and were quickly defeated, confirming that they were no match for the intruders they had been assigned to stop. Sorbet was a member of the Frieza Force who eventually rose to become its commander after the death of Frieza. Before taking leadership of the army, Sorbet had served as a staff officer operating in the 3rd Stellar region. He was intelligent and capable when it came to strategy, and he remained fiercely loyal to Frieza even after his master's defeat. Believing that the Frieza Force could not truly recover without its former ruler, Sorbet was determined to bring Frieza back to life and restore the organization's power. As the army struggled to rebuild, Sorbet led efforts to locate the Dragon Balls so that Frieza could be revived. After failing to find the remaining Namekians, he traveled to Earth and successfully used Earth's Dragon Balls to resurrect Frieza. Once Frieza returned, Sorbet stood by his side during the invasion of Earth, while the rebuilt Frieza Force fought the Z-Fighters. During the battle between Frieza and Goku, Sorbet intervened when Goku lowered his guard and shot him in the chest, briefly turning the situation in Frieza's favor. Frieza eventually fired another attack meant for Krillin, but the blast was deflected by Vegeta and struck Sorbet instead, killing him instantly. Tagoma was an elite soldier in the Frieza Force who served as the personal bodyguard of Sorbet after the death of Frieza. As the Frieza Force struggled to rebuild, Tagoma became one of the key soldiers involved in Sorbet's plan to revive Frieza using the Dragon Balls. Although loyal to the organization, Tagoma was initially hesitant about bringing Frieza back, warning that the Saiyans had grown extremely powerful and suggesting that rebuilding the army might be a smarter path than pursuing revenge. After Frieza was revived, Tagoma was chosen as Frieza's training partner while the tyrant trained for 4 months to prepare for a rematch with Goku. During this time, Frieza repeatedly brutalized Tagoma as part of his training, with Tagoma recovering each time and repeating the process. By the end of the training, Tagoma had grown stronger and his personality had become noticeably more cruel and arrogant, seeing himself as a perfect warrior worthy of serving Frieza. When Frieza and his army later arrived on Earth, Tagoma battled the Z-Fighters directly and overwhelmed most of them during the fight. However, his role ended abruptly when Captain Ginyu, who had been trapped in the body of a frog since the events on Namek, switched bodies with him. The swap left Tagoma trapped in the body of a Namekian frog, and his fate after that is left unknown. Shisami was an elite soldier of the Frieza Force who served under Sorbet and acted as the manager of the Frieza Army fleet. After the fall of Frieza, he became one of the most trusted officers, helping Sorbet lead what remained of the army. Shisami was shown to be extremely loyal to both Sorbet and Frieza, but he was also jealous and resentful of Tagema's position as Sorbet's bodyguard. Because of this, he often insulted Tagema and openly questioned why Sorbet trusted him so much. When Frieza and his army invaded Earth, Shisami was deployed with the rest of the Frieza Force to fight the Z-Fighters. In Resurrection F, he battled Gohan but was defeated by him. In Dragon Ball Super, Shisami confronted Gohan, but before he could do anything, Tagema shot him in the back. Mortally wounded by the attack, Shisami died from his injuries. Frost is a member of Frieza's race and the Emperor of Universe 6, serving as that universe's counterpart to Frieza. Unlike Frieza's openly tyrannical rule, Frost publicly presented himself as a heroic protector who stopped conflicts across the universe and helped rebuild planets affected by them. However, his reputation was largely built on deception, as Frost secretly orchestrated many of those wars himself and then stepped in to end them so he could gain influence and profit from the recovery efforts. Because of this double life, Frost was known for being manipulative and deceptive, often pretending to be polite and honorable while hiding his more ruthless behavior. During the Universe 6 saga, Frost was chosen as one of the fighters representing Universe 6 in the Tournament of Destroyers. He first fought Goku and later Piccolo, but both victories were eventually revealed to be the result of cheating when it was discovered that Frost had been secretly using a concealed poison needle during the matches. After the deception was exposed, Vegeta insisted on fighting him and quickly beat him, exposing the darker side that Frost had been hiding behind his heroic image. After the truth about his actions spread, Frost became a fugitive in Universe 6. He later returned as a member of Universe 6's team in the Tournament of Power after being recruited by Hit. During the tournament, Frost formed an alliance with Frieza after realizing how similar their personalities and ambitions were. However, Frieza never truly trusted him and eventually betrayed him. Frost was erased from existence along with Universe 6, but was later revived when Android 17 wished them all back. Copy Vegeta was an artificial clone created when the entity Kamasan drained Vegeta's power and replicated his form. Although he looked nearly identical to Vegeta, his body had a purple, melted appearance and red eyes, giving him a distorted version of the original Saiyan's look. Because he was created directly from Vegeta's energy, Copy Vegeta inherited much of Vegeta's personality as well, including his arrogance, pride, and tendency to look down on weaker opponents. At the same time, he was fully aware that he had been artificially created, but insisted that he was the real Vegeta while the original was only an empty shell. After being born, Copy Vegeta quickly demonstrated his strength by beating Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. He later battled Goku after refusing orders to simply absorb him, choosing instead to prove himself in a fight. In the end, when Kamasan's core was damaged, Goku destroyed Copy Vegeta with a God Kamehameha, bringing the artificial Saiyan's existence to an end. Cranberry was a veteran soldier of the Frieza Force who had served in the army since the time of Frieza's rule. During a raid on Mori's village in the Namek saga, Cranberry was hit by a blast from a Namekian warrior and sent flying towards Zarbon, who kicked him into a nearby lake to his death. However, the wish to revive all who were killed by Frieza and his men on Namek resurrected Cranberry, who soon deserted the Frieza Force and used Vegeta's space pod to escape. Years after the fall of Frieza's empire, Cranberry was caught stealing by Jocko and thrown into the galactic prison for years. He later got involved with the escaped prisoners working under Moro during the Galactic Patrol prisoner saga. Using his knowledge of Namek and the Dragon Balls, he guided Moro and his forces to New Namek. Cranberry hoped to use the situation to secure his own safety and gain favor with Moro. However, once Moro had no further use for him, Cranberry was killed by Moro himself. Saganbo was the leader of the Galactic Bandit Brigade and later became the second in command of Moro's forces during the Galactic Patrol prisoner saga. Before meeting Moro, Saganbo and his crew had spent years rampaging across the universe until they were eventually captured by the Galactic Patrol and imprisoned. Saganbo was a greedy and ruthless criminal who had no problem with entire planets or races being wiped out, though his strength and leadership earned him the respect of the other prisoners. After Moro escaped from Galactic Prison, he made a deal with Saganbo and promised to free the other inmates if Saganbo helped him build an army. Once Moro used the Namekian Dragon Balls to release the prisoners, Saganbo immediately gathered the escaped inmates, stole a ship, and helped lead them to New Namek. There, Moro rewarded Saganbo and the others by sharing some of his energy with them, and Saganbo began acting as one of Moro's main field commanders while while the group searched for planets with powerful life force for Moro to consume. Saganbo later traveled to Earth alongside Moro during the final stage of the conflict with the Galactic Patrol and the Z-Fighters. He volunteered to fight in Moro's place and was repeatedly empowered by Moro during the battle. He fought Goku but was beaten, and after Moro forced more power into him than his body could handle, Saganbo collapsed and died from the strain. 7-3 was an alien android designed OG-73I, who eventually became a member of the Galactic Bandit Brigade. He was originally created on a planet with extremely advanced technology, alongside other androids known as the OG Soldiers, all of whom served a man named Goichi. At some point, Saganbo and his gang encountered 7-3, stole him, and added him to their group, using his abilities during their crimes across the universe until they were eventually captured by Beerus and imprisoned in the Galactic Prison. 7-3 was emotionless and merciless, largely lacking independent will and simply carrying out orders given by his allies. During the Galactic Patrol saga, 7-3 was released when Moro used the Namekian Dragon Balls to free the prisoners. When Moro learned about strong fighters on Earth, 7-3 was sent there alongside Shimareka and Yunba. With his power to copy abilities, he copied Piccolo's and battled both Piccolo and Gohan before escaping. 2 months later, 7-3 returned to Earth with Moro and the rest of the Galactic Bandit Brigade, and again fought Gohan and Piccolo while using the abilities he had copied from them. Before he had a chance to use Moro's abilities that were stored away, androids 17 and 18 arrived and defeated him. Moro later retrieved the badly damaged 7-3 and devoured him whole so he could gain access to the android's stored abilities. After Moro's defeat, 7-3 survived in a heavily damaged state and was recovered by agents working for his original creator, Goichi, who placed him in a rejuvenation chamber. Later, Granolah captured 7-3 and delivered him to the Heaters, who planned to use the information stored inside him to locate Zuno. The rest of the Galactic Bandit Brigade included Shimareka, Yunba, Koiter, Yuzun, Miza, Iwaza, Kikaza, and Zayogi. They were all criminals under Saganbo who had been terrorizing parts of Universe 7 before eventually becoming some of the core members of Moro's army. As a group, they were tough for the Galactic Patrol to deal with, partly because their spaceship was faster than the Patrol's own ships. Eventually though, Beerus managed to capture them, and they were locked away in the Galactic Prison along with many other criminals. During their time working under Moro, they basically became high-ranking members, and their path eventually led them to Earth for the final conflict, a full-scale invasion where they fought both the Z-Fighters and the Galactic Patrol. Shimareka was killed by Moro to stop him from interfering with their absorption of 7-3. Yunba was defeated by Krillin with a Kamehameha. Koiter, who had the same weakness as Vegeta from Universe 6, was taken down by Chaozu and Tien through insults. Yuzin, who was from the same race as Zarbon and could also transform into a monster, never even made it to the final battle. When he tried escaping from Vegeta on Yardrat, he was killed in an explosion. Miza, Iwaza, and Kikaza fought Master Roshi, and thanks to their ability to fuse, managed to overpower both Roshi and Krillin. Goku showed up just in time though and defeated their fusion with a single attack. Zayogi, meanwhile, fought Yamcha before Tien and Chaozu arrived to help out. Once it became clear that Zayogi was overwhelming the three of them, Goku teleported to the fight and knocked him out with a single blow. All surviving members of the Galactic Bandit Brigade were then captured and taken back to the Galactic Prison, where they remain to this day. Magenta was the son of Commander Red and the public leader of the rebuilt Red Ribbon Army, operating through the company Red Pharmaceuticals. Following in his father's footsteps, Magenta secretly worked to restore the Red Ribbon Army's power and sought revenge against Goku and his allies for destroying the organization in the past. Unlike Commander Red, who was mainly focused on getting taller, Magenta focused entirely on rebuilding the army's influence. He worked closely with his chauffeur, Carmine, who acted as his most loyal subordinate during these efforts. During the superhero saga, Magenta tracked down Dr. Hedo shortly after the scientist was released from prison and convinced him to help rebuild the Red Ribbon Army. He deceived Hedo by claiming that Capsule Corporation and the alien warriors associated with it posed a serious threat to Earth. With Hedo's help, Magenta oversaw the creation of the androids Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 as the Red Ribbon Army's new champions. As part of his larger plan, Magenta also arranged for Pan to be abducted in order to lure Gohan into a confrontation with the army. After Gohan and Piccolo infiltrated the Red Ribbon base and the situation began to spiral out of control, Magenta used the lower levels of the facility with the intention of releasing Cell Max, even though the monster was still incomplete. When Dr. Hedo attempted to stop him, Magenta shot at him and revealed the cybernetic enhancements hidden beneath his clothing. However, before he could carry out his plan properly, Hedo's robotic bee Hachimaru poisoned him. In his final moments, Magenta activated Cell Max anyway and died shortly afterward, unleashing the final threat of the conflict. Dr. Hedo is the grandson of Dr. Gero and Fomi, aka Android 21, and a brilliant scientist whose work focused on advanced android creation. Despite coming from the same family line as the Red Ribbon Army's infamous scientist, Hedo never actually met his grandfather as a child because his parents disapproved of Gero's involvement with the organization. Gifted enough to earn both an MD and a PhD at a young age, Hedo developed a reputation as a genius in fields like biology and medicine. However, his questionable ethics and unusual personality often made it difficult for him to keep a normal research position. Before the events of the superhero saga, Hedo operated out of a laboratory on Butterfly Mountain, where he created several android models known as the Alpha and Beta series, while also researching Dr. Gero's stolen data. His experiments eventually crossed legal boundaries when he began using corpses for research, leading to his arrest and a short prison sentence. After being released, Hedo was approached by Magenta, who offered him massive funding for his research. Although Hedo admitted that world conquest wasn't his goal, he accepted the offer in order to pursue his dream of creating android superheroes. Working for the Red Ribbon Army, Hedo created Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 as heroic androids meant to defend the world, along with the powerful but unfinished Cell Max. Hedo repeatedly warned Magenta that Cell Max was incomplete and shouldn't be activated early. As the conflict escalated and the Red Ribbon base was infiltrated by Gohan and Piccolo, Hedo tried to stop Magenta from releasing the monster. Even though Cell Max was released anyway, Hedo survived the battle and became remorseful for his role in the events. He offered to turn himself in, but Bulma offered him and Gamma 1 a place at Capsule Corporation, and Hedo accepted, leaving behind his association with the Red Ribbon Army and continuing his work under Bulma's supervision. Gamma 1 is an android created by Dr. Hedo. He was designed as a superhero-like android modeled after a character Hedo admired as a child, and Gamma 2 as his twin. Among the two Gammas, Gamma 1 is the calmer and more disciplined one, strongly believing that he's fighting in the name of justice. Because Magenta and the Red Ribbon Army convinced Hedo that Capsule Corporation and his allies were a threat to Earth, Gamma 1 initially viewed himself as a hero carrying out a righteous mission. During the superhero saga, Gamma 1 first appears after Gamma 2 reports that he defeated Piccolo, with Gamma 1 correcting him by pointing out that Piccolo actually escaped. When Gohan arrived at the Red Ribbon base to rescue Pan, Gamma 1 confronted him and fought him while insisting that he was protecting the world from evil forces. As the situation unfolded, Gohan challenged that belief, and the Gammas began to realize that they were misled about the true nature of the conflict. After Magenta released Cell Max, Gamma 1 joined the Dragon Team to help them fight the monster in order to protect Dr. Hedo and save the world. Luckily, he survived alongside Dr. Hedo. In the aftermath, Bulma offered both him and Hedo a place at Capsule Corporation, where Gamma 1 took a role working as security and a bodyguard. Gamma 2 was the other superhero-like android created by Dr. Hedo. Unlike Gamma 1, Gamma 2 was more energetic, playful, and theatrical, fully believing he was fighting for justice. He also had a strong loyalty to Dr. Hedo and viewed himself as a heroic protector. During the superhero saga, Gamma 2 first appears when he attacks Piccolo during a field test and leaves believing he defeated him. Later, after Pan is kidnapped and Gohan arrives at the base to rescue her, Gamma 2 got involved in the escalating conflict and continued fighting alongside the Red Ribbon Army while believing he was protecting the world from villains. However, as the situation unfolded, Gamma 2 began to realize the truth about the organization. When he saw Carmine try to shoot Pan, he knew the army had deceived them, leading Gamma 2 and Gamma 1 to turn against their former allies. During the fight with Cell Max, Gamma 1 identified a weakness in Cell's forehead, and Gamma 2 realized the only way to exploit it was through a suicide attack. He battled Cell Max, but was killed after sacrificing himself in a final strike that damaged the monster and helped create the opening needed for its defeat. In his final moments, Piccolo acknowledged that Gamma 2 truly was a superhero. Legic was the personal bodyguard of Don Ki on the planet Nameca, and one of the early opponents Goku, Trunks, and Pan faced during Dragon Ball GT. He's a confident and observant mercenary who mostly kept to himself and paid close attention to the group's power, only getting involved when it served his own interests. At the same time, he wasn't completely greedy or dishonorable, since he openly rejected the idea that money was everything, and eventually showed a degree of respect toward Goku. During the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, Legic confronted Goku and the others and easily beat Trunks, then battled Goku and pushed him far enough that Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan. Legic was beaten though, and instead of continuing to work for Don Ki, he rejected his money and abandoned him. This was Legic's last appearance in the series, and his current whereabouts are unknown. The Para brothers were a trio made up of Bon, Don, and Son Para, who served Cardinal Muchi Muchi during the Black Star Dragon Ball saga. They're flashy performers who loved showing off their dancing abilities, though they were also selfish and willing to work against others if it benefited them. Their role in the story starts when Bon Para disguises himself as a villager on planet Gelbo and tricks Goku, Trunks, and Pan long enough to steal the 6-star Black Star Dragon Ball from Pan. After taking the Dragon Ball, the brothers flee to return it to Cardinal Muchi Muchi on planet Lude, and later lure the group into the asteroid Bihei, leaving them behind to deal with the creatures living inside the tunnels. When they confront the group again, the Para brothers use their Para Para Boogie, a technique that forces anyone watching to dance uncontrollably and leaves them helpless. The plan eventually fails though, and the brothers are defeated. Afterward, they're taken to planet Lude, where Cardinal Muchi Muchi punishes them by turning them into dolls to fuel Lude. While trapped inside Lude, the brothers eventually help Goku and the others defeat him. Near the end of Dragon Ball GT, the Para brothers reform and become more honest and kind-hearted, helping Goku to power the Universal Spirit Bomb. Muchi, or Cardinal Muchi Muchi, was a machine mutant who secretly served as the true leader of the Lude cult and one of Dr. Mu's subordinates. Although Cardinal Muchi Muchi appeared to be the public leader of the cult on planet Lude, Muchi was the one actually in control behind the scenes. I know it's confusing, but stay with me. He referred to himself as Lude's priest and worked to gather energy for the deity Lude, showing little concern for the lives of the cult's followers if they failed him. During the events on planet Lude, Muchi initially appeared in whip form as a weapon used by Cardinal Muchi Muchi. After the robot Leon exploded and killed the Cardinal, Muchi revealed his true form as a machine mutant and took control of the situation himself. He confronted Goku and the others and pushed Goku hard enough to transform into a Super Saiyan. The fight eventually turned against him though when Trunks caught him off guard and killed him with a blast. Daltaki was a space swindler who worked for Dr. Mu and acted as the chief leader of the Lude cult on planet Lude. Using his skills as a con artist, he created the fake religion known as Ludism and convinced the planet's people to worship the machine mutant Lude as a god. Through this cult, Daltaki gathered energy from the followers and used Lude's power to transform people into dolls, all to collect the energy Dr. Mu needed to help Baby grow stronger. During the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, Daltaki became particularly interested in Pan after she was turned into a doll, but he ultimately ended up sharing the same fate when Lude transformed him into a doll as well and absorbed him along with the others. While trapped inside Lude, Daltaki was forced by Pan to reveal the machine's weak point, which allowed Goku and Pan to destroy Lude and free everyone who had been absorbed. After escaping, Daltaki traveled to planet M2 to report Lude's defeat to Dr. Mu while trying to justify his failure. Instead, he encountered General Rildo, who killed him for both his failure and his treachery. Lude was a machine mutant and supposed god of destruction, created by Dr. Mu and worshipped as a false god by the Lude cult on planet Lude. Despite his title, he isn't related to the gods of destruction that appear in Dragon Ball Super. Dr. Mu gave the giant machine to the con artist Daltaki, who built the religion of Ludism around it and convinced the planet's inhabitants to worship Lude as a deity. Through this cult, followers willingly gave their life energy to Lude, believing he would eventually awaken, destroy all non-believers, and reward his faithful with whatever they desired. In reality, the energy gathered through Lude was meant to serve Dr. Mu's larger plan of restoring Baby. Lude remained in the form of a massive statue while the cult continued collecting energy. After the conflict on planet Lude escalated, Daltaki awakened the machine mutant using the life energy of the cult's followers. Even after awakening, Lude still wasn't fully powered, and Dr. Mew later ordered Daltaki to offer Pan as an additional sacrifice. When both Pan and Daltaki were absorbed, Lude reached his full power form and became far more dangerous. It was eventually revealed that the people absorbed by Lude weren't killed, but instead stored inside his body, and that his true weakness was a single cell within him that had to be struck from both the inside and outside at the same time. Lude battled Goku, but was eventually destroyed when Goku and Pan attacked that weak point together, freeing everyone who had been trapped inside him. The Sigma Force was an elite group of machine mutants that served under General Rildo on planet M2. As Rildo's main strike force, they were sent to deal with Goku, Trunks, and Pan after the group arrived on M2 searching for the Black Star Dragon Balls. The Sigma Force attacked the trio and managed to capture Goku and Trunks while Pan was separated from them. After Rildo realized Pan was still on the loose inside M2's base, he sent Nat, one of its members, to capture her, but she defeated him. The remaining members of the Sigma Force regrouped and fused together to form a stronger robot called the Super Mega Cannon Sigma in order to fight Goku. Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan though and destroyed them. Afterward, General Rildo absorbed the remaining parts of the Sigma Force and used them to increase his own power, transforming into a stronger machine mutant form and continuing the fight against Goku. General Rildo was an alien who had been rebuilt into a machine mutant by Dr. Mew and served as the general of planet M2 as well as one of Mew's most powerful subordinates. He's arrogant and extremely confident in the superiority of machine mutants over organic life, often looking down on humans and Saiyans. In GT, Rildo first appears after the defeat of Lude, executing Daltaki for his failure before taking a more direct role in dealing with Goku, Pan, and Trunks once they arrive on M2. He initially sends the Sigma Force to capture them, but after they fail, Rildo personally steps in to confront the group. During the conflict on M2, Rildo proves to be one of the strongest enemies the trio encounters on the planet, with Goku even noting that his energy feels comparable to Majin Buu's. He turned Trunks into metal for Mew's research, and after battling Goku for a while and unveiling new transformations, he did the same to Goku and Pan. The three eventually freed themselves, and when they tried to escape the planet, Rildo stood in their way, though he was destroyed by a combined Kamehameha. Rildo appeared again during the Super 17 saga after Dr. Mew and Dr. Gero opened a gateway between Hell and Earth that allowed the villains to escape. After returning to Earth, he chased Pan and Hercule before confronting Gohan. Rildo fought Gohan and nearly won, but he was destroyed by a surprise ki blast from Majub. Dr. Mew was a machine mutant scientist from planet M2 and a recurring villain in Dragon Ball GT. His ultimate goal was the Total Galaxy Conquest operation, a plan aimed at taking control of the entire universe. Long before the events of GT, he discovered a parasitic life form carrying the memories of the Tuffle King, which would later become Baby, and began developing plans to use it as part of his conquest. During the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, Dr. Mew operated mostly behind the scenes while directing servants like General Rildo, Daltaki, and Lude to gather energy and assist in the completion of Baby. When Goku and the others eventually reached planet M2, Mew attempted to capture them and convert them into the ultimate machine mutant, but his plans failed. Believing Baby had been destroyed, Mew tried to flee, only for Baby to emerge from his body and kill him, revealing that Baby had secretly programmed Mew rather than the other way around. Later, during the Super 17 saga, Dr. Mew appeared again in Hell, where he formed an alliance with Dr. Gero after realizing they both shared a hatred for Goku. Together, they created Hellfighter 17 and manipulated events so that he could merge with Android 17 on Earth to become Super 17. However, Mew's own arrogance eventually led to his downfall, because when he tried to command Super 17 too forcefully, the android turned on him and killed him. The Tuffle Parasites were parasitic organisms created from the DNA of the Tuffle King and used by Baby as part of his plan to restore the Tuffle race. The original parasite was Baby himself, who was discovered on Planet Plant and later completed by Dr. Mew on Planet M2. Once fully developed, Baby began making additional parasites that could infect other living beings and take control of their minds and bodies. When someone was infected, their free will was replaced with Baby's will, effectively turning them into extensions of his consciousness. During the Baby saga, Baby spread the Tuffle parasites across Earth by infecting humans and other fighters in order to recreate the Tuffle race and build an army under his control. Infected hosts retained their original abilities, which made the parasites especially dangerous since Baby could use the power of those he possessed. In the end, the parasites infecting Earth were eliminated when Kibito Kai released the sacred water across the planet, freeing the victims from Baby's control. Monster Carrot was the leader of the rabbit mob who ruled over a village in the Diablo Desert before he was defeated by Goku. He was feared for his ability to turn people into carrots with a single touch, and he used that power to control others while forcing his subordinates to wear fake rabbit ears. During the Emperor Pilaf saga, Monster Carrot appeared after his men were defeated and confronted Goku's group, where he turned Bulma into a carrot after she came in contact with him. He later faced Goku but was beaten and forced to turn Bulma back to normal. After his defeat, Goku sent Monster Carrot and his henchmen to the moon. When the moon was later destroyed during the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, Monster Carrot and his gang were left drifting through space. They were seen again in Dragon Ball Super though, shown on the restored moon with his mob in the Moro arc. King Gurumez was the leader of the land of Gurumez. After discovering the blood rubies hidden beneath his kingdom, Gurumez was cursed by them and transformed into a monster with an uncontrollable hunger. As his condition worsened, he became increasingly greedy and corrupt, using the excavation of the blood rubies to fund massive amounts of food from across the world to try and satisfy his appetite. Over time, Gurumez believed that only Shenron could free him from his hunger, which drove his pursuit of the Dragon Balls. He worked closely with his two loyal henchmen, Pasta and Bongo, who carried out his orders during this search. Gurumez already had 4 Dragon Balls and ordered Pasta and Bongo to take Goku's 4-star ball, which set Goku and Bulma on a path toward his kingdom. As his rule continued, the land itself started to decay, which led a girl named Penny to seek help in stopping him. At the climax of the story, the Dragon Balls were in Gurumez's stomach, which caused Shenron to be summoned from within him and destroy part of his castle. After Penny made a wish to restore her land, the blood rubies were removed, Gurumez returned to his original human form, and his hunger was cured. Lucifer was a vampire-like demon who served as both a demon king and a demon god. He governed Devil's Castle within the Devil's Hand and commanded a group of loyal ogre demons. Lucifer carried himself with a calm demeanor, remaining composed even while carrying out his plans. Despite that refined behavior, he was driven by a desire to cast the world into eternal darkness so that beings like him could exist freely, and he pursued this goal through a calculated mix of magic and advanced technology. For thousands of years, Lucifer possessed the Sleeping Princess, a large jewel that absorbed energy from the full moon, which he intended to use to power the Devil Castle cannon and destroy the sun. As his plan neared completion, Goku and the others arrived at his castle, and Lucifer separated Bulma from the group by charming her and bringing her in as a guest for his ceremony. In reality, he planned to use her blood as part of the celebration once his goal was achieved. After capturing the others and revealing his plan, Lucifer later battled Goku in the group. However, he was killed when the Devil Castle cannon was knocked off its base and fired directly at him. Princess Snake was the ruler of a castle located along Snake Way and was also known in her true form as the goddess of Snake Way. She was attracted to strong men like King Yama and Goku, but she was known to become hostile when rejected, often resorting to deception or violence. Princess Snake was manipulative and self-serving, disguising herself as a kind and welcoming host while secretly intending to keep or even eat those who tried to leave. She also implied she had some form of relationship with King Yama, though the nature of it remained unclear. During the Saiyan saga, Princess Snake met Goku while he was traveling along Snake Way to train with King Kai and tried to convince him to stay at her castle. When Goku refused and tried to leave, she revealed her true form and tried to eat him. Goku escaped by tricking her into tying herself into a knot, allowing him to leave and continue toward his training despite her efforts to stop him. Dr. Kochin was the assistant of Dr. Wheelo and a self-proclaimed biotechnology technology expert. He was responsible for saving Dr. Wheelo from death and transforming him into a cyborg. And he also worked alongside him to create the powerful bio-warriors Kishimi, Misokatsune, and Ibifuria. Kochin was a mad scientist who prioritized dangerous experimentation over any concern for humanity. Although he initially appeared to be an elderly man, it was later revealed that he had actually been a robot the entire time. Kochin gathered the Dragon Balls and used them to free Dr. Wheelo from his icy prison after 50 years. He later captured and brainwashed Piccolo while also kidnapping Bulma and Master Roshi with the help of his biomen. Throughout the conflict, Kochin remained inside Dr. Wheelo's fortress, directing his forces from the control room. He was accidentally knocked from the laboratory during Dr. Wheelo's release, and as he fell, his disguise burned away and exposed his robotic form before he exploded in midair. The Turles Crusher Corps was a mercenary group led by Turles. The group was composed of warriors recruited from different planets, including Amand, Cacao, Daze, Raisin, and Lacasse, all of whom followed Turles in his mission. Their objective was to locate suitable planets where they could plant the Tree of Might and harvest its fruit, as the fruit granted immense power. Through this, the Crusher Corps aimed to become the strongest warriors in the universe, and it was suggested that this power could eventually allow them to challenge Frieza. The Crusher Corps arrived on Earth and planted the Tree of Might, which began draining the planet's life and turning the surrounding environment into a wasteland. As the Z-Fighters tried to stop the tree, the Crusher Corps confronted them while Turles oversaw the situation from his ship. They later battled Goku and the others, but Goku killed them all with the Kaioken. Slug's Demon Clan was a group of demonic fighters led by the Super Namekian Lord Slug, and aside from Slug himself, the group was made up entirely of inhabitants from planet Slug. They served as his personal force as he traveled through space and expanded his influence by conquering planets. It was stated that Slug ruled over large portions of the universe, governing multiple nebulae and star systems through this army. Among his most prominent subordinates were Commander Zune, Anila, Wings, and Metamacha, who acted as his top enforcers while numerous other soldiers operated under them as part of the larger force. The Demon Clan arrived on Earth as part of Slug's plan to convert the planet into a planet cruiser by freezing its atmosphere and using it as a means of transportation. Throughout the conflict, the clan carried out Slug's orders, with his main henchman leading the effort while the rest of the army supported them. They battled Goku and Piccolo but were defeated and killed along with Slug himself. Cooler's armored squadron were elite mercenaries that served under Cooler through the Cooler Force, their members being Salza, Dore, and Naze. The group was described as being on the same level as Frieza's elite forces while surpassing them in power. Salza served as the captain of the team and had previously competed with Ginyu for a leadership position, while Dore and Naze operated as his most trusted subordinates. Before they arrived on Earth, the squadron was present near planet Vegeta on the day it was destroyed, where they noticed a Saiyan infant traveling in a space pod but stood down on Cooler's orders. Years later, after learning of Frieza's defeat, Cooler brought the armored squadron to Earth to target the Saiyan responsible and restore his family's pride. They eventually battled Goku and Piccolo but were beaten, with Dore and Naze being killed by Piccolo and Salza surviving briefly before being killed by Piccolo as well. Dr. Gero's supercomputer was a machine created by Gero to continue his plans after his death, and it was programmed to carry on his mission of killing Goku. After Gero died, his hatred was effectively passed on to the computer, and it operated under the belief that it was Dr. Gero himself. Its primary role was to complete his unfinished work, continue developing his creations, and ensure that his revenge would be fulfilled. During the Cell Saga, the supercomputer carried out Gero's plan by completing Cell, a project that had been too complex for Gero to finish on his own. It also used a tracking device to gather genetic material from various fighters, which was then used in Cell's creation. Later on, Future Trunks and Krillin located the lab where the supercomputer was operating and destroyed it along with Cell in his early form, ending the main timeline's version of Gero's plan. However, in an alternate timeline, the supercomputer would activate 3 new androids. Androids 14 and 15 were Dr. Gero's 14th and 15th android creations and robotic assassins, built to carry out Gero's vendetta against Goku for destroying the Red Ribbon Army in the past. They were developed alongside Android 13 prior to the Android Saga, saga, and while their main timeline versions were said to be destroyed by Gero, their alternate timeline versions remained. The androids showed almost no emotion and rarely spoke, operating with a single focus on completing their mission. 14 was activated by Dr. Gero's supercomputer along with 15, and the two were sent to attack Goku in West City. After confronting Goku and the others, the fight moved to a frozen area where Android 13 eventually joined them, leaving 14 to face future Trunks and 15 to face Vegeta. The androids were destroyed by them both, leaving their components to be absorbed by 13, which allowed him to transform into Super Android 13. Paragus was a Saiyan warrior and the father of Broly, portrayed in both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. In the DBZ version, Paragus had been loyal to King Vegeta before the king discovered Broly's immense power and ordered the infant to be executed. In the DBS version, Paragus had once been a colonel under King Vegeta, but his loyalty ended when the king exiled Broly to planet Vampa out of fear of his potential. In both versions, Paragus survived after being cast aside by King Vegeta and spent years raising Broly while trying to control his overwhelming power. As Broly grew older, Paragus became increasingly driven by revenge against King Vegeta and the royal family. In DBZ, Broly's unstable power injured Paragus and left him scarred, leading Paragus to use a control device to suppress Broly's rage. He later created New Planet Vegeta as a trap for Prince Vegeta and secretly planned to let a comet destroy the planet. In DBS, Paragus was stranded on Vampa with Broly, killed a fellow Saiyan to survive, and trained Broly as a weapon for revenge while using a shock collar to keep his power in check. During the events of each film, Paragus used Broly to carry out his revenge, but ultimately lost control over him. In DBZ, Paragus tried to escape and abandon Broly after his plan fell apart, but Broly destroyed his escape pod while he was still inside and launched it into the approaching comet. In DBS, Paragus realized he couldn't restrain Broly during the battle on Earth, but before he could intervene, he was killed by Frieza, who used his death to push Broly further. The Galaxy Soldiers were a mercenary group led by Bojack, a space pirate who had been sealed away by the Kai. The group consisted of Kogu, Beto, Zanya, and Bujin, all of whom followed Bojack after he was freed following King Kai's death. Once released, Bojack sought to eliminate powerful fighters across the universe so he could carry out his plan of conquest, and the Galaxy Soldiers acted as his primary force in achieving that goal. They traveled to Earth after sensing the energy from the Cell games and infiltrated the Intergalactic World Tournament by killing the original fighters and taking their place. While Bojack waited at the final stage, his subordinates carried out his plan by competing in the tournament and confronting the remaining fighters. They battled Gohan and the others, but were ultimately defeated. Kogu was killed by future Trunks, Beto and Bujin were killed by Gohan in Super Saiyan 2, and Zanya was killed by Bojack himself. Lord Jaguar was a wealthy businessman and the longtime rival of Hercule. He had known Hercule since their school days and held a grudge against him after losing to him in the past, which drove his desire for revenge. He hired scientists to create bio-warriors and eventually funded the cloning of Broly, intending to use the clone both for world domination and to expose Hercule as a fraud. Jaguar invited Hercule to his island through his cousin Men Men and forced him to participate by threatening to reveal an embarrassing story from their childhood. As this plan unfolded, Bio Broly quickly became uncontrollable, ignoring Jaguar's commands and attacking indiscriminately. When Jaguar realized that the situation had spiraled out of control, he was left trapped as the facility collapsed under the spreading biofluid. At that point, he hesitated when given the chance to escape, believing he deserved the outcome for his actions. In the end, he was rescued by Trunks, and he showed regret over the consequences of his revenge-driven plan. Poi was an evil wizard and the last known survivor of the Kashvar, an alien race of warlocks who believed themselves superior to other beings. He was closely connected to Hirudegarn, a powerful monster originally created by the Kashvar, and his main goal was to retrieve it and use its power. After Hirudegarn had been split and sealed inside Tapion and his brother Minosha, Hoi searched for the containers holding them so he could bring the monster back. He eventually located Minosha and released him, which caused Hirudegarn's lower half to escape and led to Minosha's death. Hoi arrived on Earth and deceived Gohan, Videl, and the others by claiming he needed help preventing a disaster, when in reality he was manipulating them to gather the Dragon Balls. He used Shenron to release Tapion, which also gave him access to Hirudegarn's other half. Hoi attempted to take control of the situation by interfering with Tapion and trying to stop him from keeping the monster sealed. He later brought Hirudegarn's two halves together and ordered the fully restored creature to destroy humanity. However, Hoi lost control of the situation and was killed when Hirudegarn crushed him, ending the last surviving member of the Koshvar. Barry was a famous A-list actor and celebrity on Earth who played the Great Saiyaman in a film, gaining popularity through his public image and acting career. During the Majin Buu saga, he was briefly shown as a superstar in a magazine before later being revived with the rest of Earth's population. Despite his success, he developed a jealousy toward Gohan, who worked as his stunt double and was married to Videl, which led Barry to view him as both a personal and a professional threat. In Dragon Ball Super, Barry tried to ruin Gohan's life by blackmailing his co-star Coco into helping him fabricate evidence of an affair, while also trying to damage her career in the process. He discovered Gohan's identity as the Great Saiyaman and tried to use that information against him by creating a scandal involving Coco, but Videl saw through the deception. Later on, Barry was possessed by Wadagash, who amplified his hatred of Gohan and used him to carry out revenge. He kidnapped Pan to draw Gohan out and battled him, but was defeated and freed from the possession. Afterward, Barry was threatened with exposure for his actions, forcing him to keep Gohan's identity a secret to protect himself. Barry Blue was an elderly attendant in the Frieza Force who had served since the era of King Cold and acted as a caretaker to Frieza during his childhood. Over time, she became one of the few individuals Frieza trusted, holding a higher position within the organization and maintaining a close working relationship with him. Unlike most of his subordinates, Barry Blue was able to speak openly around Frieza, and he showed her a level of tolerance he rarely extended to others. She was also familiar with his personal insecurities, including his concern about his height, which reflected how long she had known him. During the events with Broly, Barry Blue remained at Frieza's side aboard his ship while the Dragon Balls were being gathered. When the purpose of the wish was questioned, she correctly identified that Frieza intended to use the Dragon Balls to become taller. Following the fight with Broly, Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza, Barry Blue continued serving within the Frieza Force as Frieza chose to keep Broly in mind as a potential asset. Future androids 17 and 18 were the alternate timeline versions of 17 and 18. They had originally been human delinquents before being kidnapped and modified by future Dr. Gero into cybernetic androids as part of his plan for world domination. After being activated, they turned on Gero and killed him, abandoning their original purpose and acting on their own. Unlike their main timeline counterparts, future 17 and 18 were far more ruthless and destructive, showing little concern for human life and treating chaos as entertainment while remaining closely attached to one another. After Goku's death, the two began terrorizing the world, destroying cities and killing most of Earth's defenders, leaving only few survivors to oppose them. Over time, they continued the destruction for their own amusement, repeatedly clashing with future Gohan and future Trunks. They later teamed up on Gohan and murdered him together, which pushed Trunks toward becoming a Super Saiyan. Years later, after Trunks returned stronger, future 17 and 18 were confronted again during another attack. They were both easily killed by Trunks, bringing an end to their reign of destruction. Dr. Lychee was a Tuffle scientist, regarded as one of the greatest in his field during the height of the Tuffle civilization. However, his life was changed when the Saiyans wiped out his race and took over their planet. As the destruction unfolded, Lychee tried to escape with his creation Hachiak, but he was killed before he could flee. His machine eventually arrived on the Dark Planet, where it continued operating and later created ghost warriors, including a ghost version of Lychee, who carried operate on his will. Lai Chi was highly intelligent and completely driven by hatred toward the Saiyans, refusing to let go of his desire for revenge even after death. His ghost released Destron gas across Earth to draw out the remaining Saiyans and lure them to the Dark Planet. Once they arrived, he confronted them but was ultimately destroyed. After his defeat, Lai Chi's lingering hatred was absorbed by Hachiak, which caused the machine to take on a more powerful form and continue his mission. Hachiak was a machine created by Dr. Lai Chi. He was originally designed as a supercomputer meant to harness and amplify the hatred of the Tuffle race in order to destroy the Saiyans. However, Dr. Lai Chi was unable to complete his work before the Saiyans wiped out the Tuffles, leaving Hachiak to absorb the lingering hatred of the fallen race before being sent into space. As a being, Hachiak was driven entirely by that accumulated hatred and existed only to carry out the destruction of the remaining Saiyans. Years later, he initiated his plan by reviving figures such as Dr. Lai Chi, Frieza, Cooler, Lord Slug, and Turles as ghost warriors to attack Earth and draw out the Saiyans. After Dr. Lai Chi's ghost was defeated, Hachiak absorbed his hatred and manifested into a physical form to continue the mission himself. He battled Goku and the others, but was destroyed after they exploited a weakness in his attacks and struck him together. Lord Yao was a boar-like demon and the ruler of Mount Pao's nearly 100 years after the events of GT. He was known as the king of the Pao's demons and held authority over Mamba, Torga, and Susha, who operated under him. Yao appeared as Mamba and the others chased Goku Jr., asserting his dominance over the situation. He confronted Goku Jr. and threatened a bear that tried to stand against him. Soon, Goku Jr. transformed into a Super Saiyan and battled Lord Yao, quickly defeating him and sending him crashing into a rock wall. He was last seen buried under rubble, which left his fate unclear after the encounter. Mamba was a witch and demon who lived in the forest near Mount Pao. She disguised herself as a kind woman to lure travelers into her home, where she would later cook and eat them. She also worked alongside Torga and Susha under Lord Yao, though her loyalty to him was shown to come from fear rather than true devotion. Mamba met Goku Jr. and Puck after saving them from wolves while disguised as a human, intending to eat them herself later. When they escaped from her home, she pursued them alongside Torga and Susha, angered by the damage done to her appearance. She battled Goku Jr. but failed to stop him. After Goku Jr. transformed into a Super Saiyan and defeated Lord Yao, Mamba fled with the others, abandoning the fight once her leader was gone. Abo and Kado were soldiers in the Frieza Force. The twin brothers served alongside each other and were considered to be on the same level as the Ginyu Force during their time under Frieza. Before they met Goku and the others, Abo and Kado pursued Tarbal and his wife to Earth after attacking the planet they had been living on. When they arrived, they confronted Goten and Trunks and struggled against them, which led the two brothers fusing into Akka. They battled Gotenks and were ultimately defeated by Goku. When the fight ended, both Abo and Kado abandoned their mission and joined the others at the celebration, where they were shown eating alongside the group. Lord Chilled was a space pirate and the ancestor of Frieza. He led his own army and displayed a personality similar to his descendants, acting arrogant, childish, and ruthless toward both his enemies and his own subordinates. He showed little regard for others, even killing his own men when they failed him. Chilled traveled to planet Plant after losing contact with his soldiers to investigate what had happened. He and his army disguised themselves as members of the Galactic Police in order to deceive the local population, but the situation escalated after his forces began attacking the villagers. He later confronted Bardock, but was defeated after Bardock transformed into a Super Saiyan. In his final moments, Chilled ordered his men to warn his family about the Saiyan responsible, passing down a warning about a warrior whose hair could turn golden before dying shortly afterward. The Shadow Dragons are some of the most creative and symbolically powerful villains in Dragon Ball, created by the Z-Fighters themselves. Over time, the Dragon Balls were used repeatedly for noble causes, selfish whims, and everything in between. What few realized, though, was that each wish released negative energy alongside the positive. Normally, that energy would fade, but with constant use, the Dragon Balls never had time to recover. Eventually, they cracked under the pressure. When Goku and the others summoned Shenron after defeating Super Android 17, they didn't get the dragon they expected. Instead, a massive, smoke-covered creature emerged, Black Smoke Shenron, a foul-mouthed, cigar-smoking dragon born from pure, negative energy. He was no twisted version of Shenron, he was something entirely new. According to Old Kai and Mr. Popo, he was proof that even good intentions can turn toxic when abused, and he might not have been the only one of his kind. Legend speaks of similar evil dragons that once destroyed entire planets, even galaxies. And he didn't stay for long. After mocking the group, Black Smoke Shenron devoured the cracked Dragon Balls and exploded, splitting into 7 corrupted dragons, each tied to a past wish. These became known as the Shadow Dragons. Hei's Shenron was born from the wish to revive Bora, Upa's father, who was killed by Mercenary Tao in the original Dragon Ball series. As the 2-star dragon, Hei's Shenron is the weakest of the 7, though he doesn't act like it. Arrogant and loudmouthed, Hei's constantly belittles his opponents and overestimates his abilities. He takes pride in his pollution-based powers, releasing a toxic smog that dulls the senses, weakens the body, and can even bring Goku to his knees. He considers the destruction caused by his poison to be beautiful, and rather than train or improve his fighting skills, he lets his poison do the work, choosing laziness and underhanded tactics over effort. At first glance, Hei's might seem like a bumbling fool, but his incompetence is mostly an act. He drags out battles on purpose, pretending to be harmless in order to buy time for his poison to take full effect. He even mocked transformations, calling them cheap tricks used by cowards. In truth, he was just embarrassed he couldn't transform himself. That insecurity is part of his facade, because when the tide turns against him, Hei's immediately shows his true nature, a coward who tries to run the moment real power shows up. He's also sadistic. During his fight with Goku and Pan, he threw both of them into a toxic lake and threatened to devour Pan alive. After Gero rescued them by pulling them into a nearby freshwater spring, Goku and Pan used the clean water to purify the battlefield. As the poison faded, Hei's lost his only advantage. When he tried to flee, Pan and Goku blasted him with a Kamehameha, ending the fight. Even though he was born from a noble wish to bring a father back to life, Hei's is a reminder that intention doesn't erase consequence. Arrogant, toxic, and ultimately weak, he's a manifestation of how darkness can fester in even the kindest of acts. Rage Shenron was born from the wish made by Master Roshi to resurrect Goku after his death at the hands of Raditz, or Piccolo depending on how you see it, so he could return to fight against Nappa and Vegeta. While the wish was made to protect the Earth, the negative energy it produced eventually gave birth to this volatile shadow dragon. As the 5-star dragon, Rage Shenron is small in size but overflowing with arrogance. He believes he's the strongest of all the shadow dragons and views himself as invincible. He mocks his fallen siblings, more specifically Hei's Shenron, and treats Goku and Pan as inferior, even when he's clearly outmatched. His delusion is one of his greatest weaknesses, blinding him to reality and pushing him to take unnecessary risks just to prove his superiority. Rage fights with electricity-based abilities, most notably his electric slime, an energy-absorbing substance that can shock and exhaust enemies through prolonged contact. He can even absorb this slime into his body and transform into a towering titan form, amplifying his power and resistance. His slime is strong enough to withstand Super Saiyan 4 Goku's ×10 Kamehameha, even reflecting it back with enough force to force Goku out of the form entirely after shielding Pan from the attack. But for all his power, Rage is deeply insecure. He pretends to surrender just to catch his enemies off guard, and in a desperate final move, he tries to kill Pan after conceding defeat, showing his cowardice in full. Rage is a representation of how pride and obsession can twist strength into something self-destructive. Born from a heroic act, he embodies the irony that even noble wishes can produce monsters when balance is lost. Oceanus Shenron, the commander of water and wind, was born from one of the most infamous wishes in Dragon Ball, when Oolong interrupted Emperor Pilaf's wish for world domination by asking for a pair of panties from a hot babe. A completely frivolous and selfish desire, the wish itself became a punchline, but its consequences turned deadly. As the 6-star dragon, Oceanus Shenron is the only only female shadow dragon and arguably the most vain. She initially appears as a tall, elegant woman with teal skin, flowing navy blue hair, and ornate gold jewelry. Her false appearance masks her true form, a grotesque, dragon-like creature with a massive jaw and the 6-star ball embedded in her chin. She despises this true form and uses shapeshifting to preserve her illusion of beauty. In fact, she's so obsessed with her appearance that she's threatened to kill anyone who sees her real body. Oceanus is sadistic, self-absorbed, and cruel. She attacks harmless animals like seagulls for fun and shows open disgust toward the circumstances of her own creation, harboring resentment toward Oolong, the one responsible for the wish that gave her life. Her arrogance is overwhelming, as she manipulates and deceives entire towns while disguising herself as the noble Princess Otto, basking in admiration while hiding behind illusion and lies. Though she commands water, wind, and illusion, Oceanus isn't much of a fighter. She relies on image and trickery more than power, and once exposed by Goku and Pan, her tactics fall apart quickly. Her shame, pride, and obsession with control ultimately become her undoing. Oceanus represents the darker consequences of selfishness and vanity. Even a joke wish, one made on a whim, can ripple outward and manifest something twisted. Her existence proves that irresponsibility, no matter how small or silly, still feeds the same darkness. Natron Shenron was born from the wish made by Bulma and Yamcha to revive those killed by Majin Vegeta at the World Martial Arts Tournament. Though the wish was meant to restore innocent lives, it resulted in the creation of one of the most parasitic shadow dragons. As the 7-star dragon, Natron represents the element of Earth. His true form is a small, brown, mole-like creature with a pig-like snout, dull black horns, and pink claws. But Natron's strength doesn't come from his own abilities. It's stolen. Through absorption, he mutates into more monstrous and powerful forms, gaining new traits from whatever he consumes. After absorbing a mole off screen, he takes on a brutish, larger form. After absorbing Pan, he becomes reptilian, faster, more dangerous, and far more intelligent. Natron's personality shifts with his power. In his mole-absorbed state, he appears dim-witted and slow, more focused on digging than combat. But once fused with Pan, his real nature emerges, sadistic, arrogant, and manipulative. He enjoys psychological warfare, using Pan as a shield and mocking Goku with taunts and threats of mass violence. His cruelty isn't just strategic, it's indulgent. What makes Natron especially twisted is how he treats power as a mask. Without someone else to leech off, he's nothing, weak, insecure, and terrified of death. When stripped back down to his original form, he reverts to begging, deception, and cheap sneak attacks. But his tricks fail him, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku ultimately destroys him without mercy. Natron is a parasite in every sense, physically, mentally, and thematically. He's proof that some evils don't create power, they just steal it. And even when they lose it, there's nothing left but cowardice and desperation. Ice Shenron was born from the wish that erased the world's memories of Majin Buu's rampage, sparing only the Dragon Team and their allies. A wish meant to bring peace and closure, twisted into the creation of a cold-hearted opportunist. As the 3-star dragon and wielder of the element of ice, Ice Shenron is the twin brother of Nova Shenron, though the similarities between them end with appearance. Ice is shamelessly underhanded. He uses ice not just to fight, but to immobilize, trap, and exploit his enemies, freezing their limbs piece by piece to tip the battle in his favor. He's relentless, but only when the odds are in his favor. When they're not, he uses deception, cruelty, and even family as shields. Ice is manipulative and vindictive, showing no hesitation in using Pan as a hostage or hiding behind Nova to avoid being attacked. He mocks Goku's sense of justice, justifies his dirty tactics as doing whatever it takes to win, and only surrenders when he's clearly outmatched. Even then, it's a ploy, offering to hand over the Dragon Ball only to blind Goku with a surprise attack the moment his guard drops. Despite being the 3rd most powerful of the Shadow Dragons, Ice only truly lands damage when Goku is restrained or distracted. He's a dangerous opponent, but not because of raw power. Ice weaponizes morality. He punishes compassion, manipulates bonds, and hides behind rules he refuses to follow himself. But that's also his downfall. Goku doesn't forgive Ice's treachery. After withstanding his final ambush, Goku obliterates Ice Shenron with a Dragon Fist, proving that when power is backed by honor, deception doesn't stand a chance. Ice Shenron is the embodiment of hypocrisy, demanding victory through shortcuts, cruelty, and betrayal, all while ridiculing anyone who fights with dignity. And in the end, that cowardice costs him everything. Nova Shenron was born from King Piccolo's wish to restore his youth, a selfish demand made with evil intent. And yet, the result was something unexpected, a shadow dragon with a sense of honor. As the 4-star dragon and the twin brother of Ice Shenron, Nova commands the element of fire. But unlike his sibling, Nova stands apart in both strength and morality. He's one of the few shadow dragons who fights with fairness, discipline, and restraint. He spares the innocent, refuses to use hostages, and even shows respect toward his enemies. His composure and serious demeanor set him apart. He rarely taunts, and when he does, it's only in the spirit of combat. Among the corrupted, Nova is a rare example of principle. His nobility may be linked to his origin, the 4-star Dragon Ball, long associated with Goku and his adopted grandfather, Grandpa Gohan. Whatever the reason, Nova is the only shadow dragon who not only gains Goku's respect, but eventually his trust. He even sacrifices himself to protect Goku, despite knowing his fellow dragons would see this as betrayal. Nova's abilities reflect his element: heat, solar energy, and overwhelming speed. He can drastically raise his body temperature, generating flames intense enough to keep even Super Saiyan 4 Goku at bay. He's also able to draw limitless energy from the sun, unleashing devastating attacks without depleting his reserves. In his true form, Nova becomes even more dangerous, faster than Goku, skilled in martial arts, and precise with his power. He's one of the few shadow dragons who doesn't rely on deception or ambushes to gain the upper hand. What makes Nova unique isn't just his strength, it's his restraint. He refuses to gang up on enemies, declines to fight dirty, and even offers Goku medicine after Ice blinded him. And though he's ultimately consumed and used as a vessel by Omega Shenron, Nova resists until the end, never abandoning his principles. Nova Shenron is a rarity in GT, a villain born of corruption who chose integrity over conquest. Among the shadow dragons, he stands not as a monster, but a warrior, one who fought for challenge, not cruelty. Tien Shinhan was born from the wish made by Mr. Popo to revive everyone killed by Frieza and his army on Namek. It was a selfless, large-scale wish, one that even Shenron questioned his ability to grant. But the sheer magnitude of its energy birthed the strongest, most malevolent shadow dragon of them all. As the 1-star dragon, Tien Shinhan is raw destruction incarnate. Unlike his elemental brethren, Tien doesn't wield a specific power, he is the power. In his base form, he's already strong enough to overwhelm a weakened Super Saiyan 4 Goku, shrug off devastating attacks, and take on every Z fighter without issue. After absorbing the other Dragon Balls, he becomes Omega Shenron, a godlike monster wielding every ability from the other 6 shadow dragons: lightning, fire, ice, earth, water, wind, and pollution, all amplified by his own boundless strength. But what sets Tien apart isn't just his power, it's his total lack of conscience. He shows no loyalty, no honor, and no mercy. He mocks the heroes for overusing the Dragon Balls, revels in pain and suffering, and even murders Nova Shenron, his own kin, without hesitation. Unlike villains who seek challenge or dominance, Tien fights only to destroy. He doesn't want to prove he's the strongest, he just wants everything else gone. Even when faced with fusion, strategy, and overwhelming power, Tien adapts through brute force and malice. As Omega, he survives a Big Bang Kamehameha and repeatedly comes within moments of erasing Earth itself. He's more than a physical threat, he's a narrative culmination of every consequence the heroes ignored for decades. And yet, when confronted by true selflessness, Goku's final spirit bomb, Sin drops the mask. The pride, the confidence, the cruelty, they collapse into begging. After everything, the final Shadow Dragon dies not as a tyrant, but as a coward, crushed by the very power he claimed to surpass. Sin Shenron is the embodiment of unchecked consequences. Born from one of the most noble wishes, he became the most evil creation in the franchise. Not because of some tragic backstory or failed ambition, but because when power festers without balance, even good intentions can create monsters.